Hello, and welcome to TPK Roleplay. Tonight we start off our new series of rotating one-shots, the Emerald Expeditions, where our adventurers are working with the Emerald Enclave to deal with problems throughout the realm. This evening's adventure is based on Caught in the Vines, one of a two-part adventure by DMDave, available on Roll20. I am Tony, a dungeon master. For this evening, players, please give an introduction of your characters, starting this new experience in overlay order.
Hello, everybody. Oh my god, I'm starting this out. Hi, everyone. It's me, Sir Heckalot. Tonight I'm playing Nim, the Sea Elf Zoologist, which is a homebrew class. Let's move it on over to Mr. Rogers.
Hi, I'm Mr. Rogers. I'm playing Puck, our half-dragon fighter. And next up is Leo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Copper Leo. Tonight I'll be playing Rick Charlemagne, Gentleman Adventurer.
Hi, that's me next. I'm Osarex Franco. I'm playing Elaine Thistletop, the Halfling Barbarian.
And I'm next. I'm Chrissy Kritz, and I will be playing Kit Dustu, a turtle fighter.
Hey everybody, I am Turk or Turk Accented on Twitch and Twitter. I'll be playing Orsoid, a forest gnome dragonborn sorcerer.
And that is everybody. Okay, so speaking of vines, did you all know that there are 5 classifications of vines? There's twining, leaf climbers, root climbers, cup climbers, and tendrils. I'm going to give a little informational tidbit on each of these. So, to begin our little adventure, you all have decided to join the Emerald Enclave. And you all have been assigned to go to the island of Ilighôn, which is in the Sea of Fallen Stars. Many attractions, but you are to meet with a captain who is going to ship you there, and you are all there a day prior to a full moon, the 21st of Hammer. Who's first to arrive?
I'd say Puck would be first, just showing up early to start whatever job is necessary.
Question then, when would, my assigned guardian be dropped me off?
Oh, early morning, so of course you would get there. You make your way there without them, though. They give you a pat on the head and good luck.
What do you mean good luck? Fine, go do your silly trial. I'll be back in a moment. It's because I didn't sweep the floors. I get it.
You're right. Bye.
And he'll arrive the second. This little 2-foot gnome child, and just stare up directly towards a large half-dragon man. Are you also doing this trial thing?
It's gonna look down and be like, yeah. What are you doing here, little one?
Oh, I'm gonna do the trials too. I mean, I have to, because I think it might be a punishment, but it's fine. No, I'm a very serious adventuring type. I
didn't know they let children do this.
I didn't know they let really tall people do things either, other than, test the weather. But here we are, breaking boundaries.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you all the way down there.
I'll talk louder because you're so old. I got you.
Pardon, did you happen to say trials? At this point, Nim would probably walk up with, about just short of a 6-foot tall sea elf with dark greenish hair, greenish blue hair, and teal skin, and is accompanied by a kind of slowly waddling next to him is a pretty large looking sea otter. It's just, and I think you said trial. Does that mean I'm in the right place? I think I'm in the right place then, yeah.
I mean, I guess this is the race place. It's where I guess everybody's meeting now.
You do see before you a dock along with a ship, but the gangplank has not been lowered yet. There's plenty of crates on this dock. You would assume that you would have heard somebody by now, but the sails are raised. You haven't heard anyone besides yourselves. But who would like to go out next? From behind the bush arrives.
From up, because I'm assuming we're on the ship, right?
No, you are arriving to the ship
Oh, okay.
to take it.
Okay. At this point, they can see a elderly gentleman, fancily dressed, walking up. He notices a dragonborn, a halfling, and a sea elf. Right?
No, I'm only half a gnome. Thank
Oh,
you.
half gnome. He'll say, well met, friends. I recognize a group of fellow adventurers if I've ever seen one. Name's Rick Charlemagne, gentleman adventurer, formerly retired. I suppose you all got the same note I did.
That I did, and he pulls out this letter from one of the many pockets he has on his vest. And I am so rude to all of you. My name is Nim Prolantasu. And this right here is Meldo. And the otter just kind of perks up a little bit and kind of it's like a little sniff in the general direction of the crowd. But then kind of goes back to sitting.
Pleasure to meet you, Nim. And you, sir, always good to have an animal companion aboard.
Can I pet him? Oh, that was the right voice.
Sure.
He just kind of like reaches up.
Yeah, and Meldo will kind of put his head there, just kind of like willingly like be ready to get pets.
Just like, we'll continue to do this as long as you allow. Just, can I hold him? Where's his voice? Jeez.
I mean, he's pretty sure he's larger than you.
It's fine. I can lift heavy things.
Please don't hurt yourself. I mean,
And
we're
just
about to go on a
casually
trial.
lifts up. He's really, why is he so wet? Like misty in the fur.
Well, I mean, he's a sea otter. They spend most of their time in the water.
Smack.
As you'll notice, like, since like you're kind of like taking like more like a closer look at his fur, there's like almost this iridescent quality to it that like doesn't seem entirely normal.
Why is he different? I mean, he's all magic-y.
I've had that same question myself. I'm not entirely sure.
You're grown up. Shouldn't you know everything?
Well, that's the great thing about the world, huh? We don't know everything.
All too true. I've done many adventures and many travels, but I'm still learning things every day. Yes, it was most interesting to receive this note for this Emerald expedition. I'm not one to ignore the call to adventure.
He said the title, everybody. It's done. We're done.
We're good. Wrap it up.
We did it. This is the
Yep.
whole point of this whole campaign.
Roll credits.
Are we on some kind of Emerald expedition?
Well, I mean, it's a call from the Emerald. What was the name of the group?
Enclave.
One sec. Lost that letter.
Mr. Kit, I think this is. Is this it? Is this?
Yeah, this appears to be where we are supposed to set sail.
Okay. I hope we're not late.
Looks
Well,
like
I've never.
nothing set off yet.
Hello there. Gotta say, seeing a turtle and a halfling walk onto the pier, they must be adventurers as well.
I guess kind of. now. Hi, I'm Elaine. Elaine Thistletop.
A pleasure to meet you, Elaine. And you might get us
Kit Destu, and she will kind of give a deep bow.
a pleasure to meet you, Kit. The name is Rick Charlemagne, gentleman adventurer, formerly retired. I just met my new companions here. This is Nim. And I'm afraid I didn't get the name of you two fellas.
I'm Puck.
Well met, Mr. Puck.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
You know, that's funny. I used that alias once before.
Oh, I want to hear you say it.
John Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah, he couldn't do it. Oh, that's good. It didn't work very well as an alias, then, did it?
Oh, you'd be surprised, son.
So, as you are all talking, you can kind of hear a gangplank slowly skid out and hitting the pier. And coming down is a single well-dressed gentleman. So, ahoy! You must be the people I came here to pick up.
Indeed we are. Are you the captain of this good ship, or are you our contact?
A little column A, a little column B. I am Captain Bertram Alistar. Do you have your invitations?
Yes, I got it right here.
Oh, good,
I'll
good.
hand him over my letter. Yes, we got the summons from the Emerald Enclave for this expedition.
Yes, yeah. Good.
Elaine's going to very hurriedly reach into a small pouch that she'll pull around from the side. She's 2'10", and is dressed a little warmly for the area and has everything kind of tightly bound to her. Her bright blonde hair that's just like blowing around in the wind. She's having to constantly move it out of her eyes. And she'll be reaching into her pack and look up at Kit. That's the paper that we both have, right? The one with the fancy stamp that said something about nature?
Yeah, you got it. And
Okay.
Kit will also start to kind of rummage through a side satchel, and you'll notice that Kit is not this massive hulking turtle. She's actually fairly slim. Looks more like a sea turtle than she does look like a massive tortoise. So I don't think those are different. Heck can fix that if she feels so inclined.
Oh, you got it. Look at you. You did it.
But she will also reach into a bag and kind of like gesturing for Elaine to hand theirs over first, and she will follow suit.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, all right. Hello. I have this. I guess I'm here to help.
Well, that's excellent. What's your name?
Elaine. Elaine Thistletop.
Elaine. He'll go into his a side pouch and look at like a little list, just like trying to chill out. Yep.
Okay. So I just go on the boat now.
Yep.
Okay. And Elaine will hurry up the walkway. Once she gets to the top, she'll stop and wait patiently for Kit.
Kit will follow, and glancing back to the rest of the group, sorry if you guys were waiting. If you wanted to go ahead, you can. I'm just...
No, ladies and turtles first.
She's a turtle. Come on. First say with the O. It's different.
And then I'll just walk up and hand my papers as well.
Your name?
Kit Dustu.
Yep. And he'll just kind of like scratch out a little something there. Yep. Go on ahead.
Thanks. Can I see, as I'm walking past, can I try to see?
Yeah,
What?
give me a perception check.
Womp womp. Okay. 12.
You're pretty confident. You don't see anything written on that at all.
I'm assuming it's magical, but Kit probably would not know that.
Who knows? I know, but who knows? He'll come up to you,
Ooh.
Nim. Paper.
Yeah, he pulls the paper back out of his pocket that he put back in. The name is Nim Perlantasu.
Nim. Yup, Nim.
Magnanimous
Of course.
dispensation.
Who could forget Nim?
Yeah, I didn't pick the name. It's Elvish. You know how it is.
Yeah, he'll look. He'll kind of just go back with his hair, showing that he doesn't have Elven ear. Like, nope, I wouldn't know personally, but I try not to be rude. It's just some names are hard.
Of course.
Well, if you got all your stuff, you can meet with the Elaine and he'll look at his paper again. Kit.
Of course. Thank you. You'll walk on up.
You know, I usually remember names. What is just for us?
Do you have your paper? Young man.
Of course I have my paper. And he goes and he fishes in the pocket and just kind of seems to weirdly try and paw at it almost, and pulls out a paper and holding it in all 5 fingers, offers it up.
Ooh, it's a fancy one. Just pocket it.
Well, I'm a very fancy man. I'm very
Yes, I
important,
can
you
see.
see. I wear glasses and a cape, and I'm very important.
In your name.
My name is Sir Reginald Fuzzybottom Alistair Bramwell Barrington III.
Orsoid, that's right.
That's... I told you, that's not fair. He mopes onto the ship.
And he'll look up to you, Puck.
Hold on. No. Hold on. And he pulls it out and just hands him a crumpled piece of paper from his back pocket.
And it
I
just,
think that's it.
oh, yeah. And just, oop, thanks.
Oh, my name's Puck.
Yeah, I thought so.
And then
Just head on.
The only thing Puck has with him is just one singular long bag on his
A
back. Like
magnanimous
it wouldn't
dispensation.
hold anything. And so he's just gonna slink that back over his shoulder and walk on.
Last but not least,
Of course. Here you go, my good sir. Rick Charlemagne reporting for duty.
very excellent, sir.
Well, tell me, is your ship a fast ship?
It's as fast as I need her to be.
Very good. And will there be breakfast and lunch served?
Breakfast tomorrow.
Good. I'm afraid retirement's made me a little soft, so if you can make sure that I get an extra cup of prune juice tonight, be most appreciated.
He'll just like an odd smile. It's like, sure. Get
He'll
on.
just
Get
pat
right
him on
on
the
that.
He'll just pat him on the shoulder and then head up.
All right, and he will follow you all. And as you all kind of get on this ship, it does sway with the ocean current. It doesn't creak at all. A little interesting, but he will get on and say, all right, everyone has all their things because we're not coming back here.
Or not?
Well, you'll come back. I'm not bringing you back here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kit,
Yeah, you.
Kit, is
Can I
someone
have a
bringing you-
knife?
No, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Elaine?
Oh, I was just asking Kit if and like as everyone's like attention turns to Elaine, she just kind of like shrinks and go, "Never mind, it's okay."
Okay. And with just like a quick 2 clap, that gangplank will kind of lift back into the ship by itself. The sails will unfurl by themselves, and your ship is on its way to the west in the early morning. And you'll see the captain just kind of flick his wrist, and a small mote of green light will swirl up in his hand. It's like, yeah, it's going to be good sailing today. And he'll clench it, and the light will go away. And through this entire day, it's sunny, it's warm, it's just smooth sailing. Aha. Does anyone like to do anything on this day?
Nim is probably. Oh, sorry. Do you want to
Okay,
go?
go ahead.
Okay. Nim is probably going to just like be marveling at the fact that like the ship is basically sailing itself without a crew. Never been on anything like that before. He's only been on ships where there's been full crews. And if the captain isn't busy at some point, probably strike up a conversation with him to say, "This is magnificent. How do you do something like this?"
Oh, me? Oh, it's not me.
Oh, it's not. Then how does this work? I'm very curious to
Magnanimous
learn about it.
dispensation.
Well, you see, and he'll like motion you to just kind of look real close between the floorboards.
All right, I look real close between the floorboards.
And you'll notice that the floorboards are more vines, if anything. They're not actually floorboards. Although to someone who isn't looking for it, it looks like any other ship.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it took a few years to make this old Butte. She has gone through so many sailing adventures.
I bet. What's her name?
Oh, of course, I did prepare for that.
That's a good question and deserves an answer. Next question.
There's nothing. There's it's a great name. Of
Some
course.
would call it the ship of Theseus.
No.
The Ultros Mark II.
Uh-huh.
Elaine?
Fantasy name generator.
It's called the adjective noun.
It's called the Always
Yes.
Sunny.
It's always sunny in
Oh my
Ilighôn.
god, the chat. Winky's revenge.
Oh god damn it. No, Alan, we're not calling it that. Get out of here.
I'm so sorry
Okay.
to put you on the spot.
I should have thought about this a year ago when I was doing it.
Don't die.
Jesus.
The USS Hokage.
Oh my god, no.
Believe it.
No. But we'll call it the Cosmos Guider. There you go.
Cool. I like it. Oh, she is
The
a beaut. and-
EECG.
Well, she is a beaut, for sure.
Well, Donkashane. I assume you sail?
Not often. I do prefer to swim, honestly. Grew up under the water as sea elves tend to do. I spent a little bit of time on ships.
Our modest fellowship expands. Praise the sun.
What is everyone else doing?
Puck, for the most part, is going to be leaning over the side, just looking at the spray in the ocean, occasionally reaching into his shirt pocket to pull out a journal, look at it, fold it back up, put it away.
Well, if the captain's not going to give me a knife, I'm going to go ask everyone else really quick. So at some point, Nim's going to feel a tug on his trousers. Excuse me, can I have a knife?
Can I ask why?
Adventuring?
You know, we're in a very confined space. Where is there to venture to where you need a knife?
I'm very small. There's lots of room for adventuring.
Mm-hmm.
But also when we get to the island and we're doing all this.
That's curious. If you're an adventurer, why don't you already have a knife? How do you fight?
Wouldn't give me one.
Ah. Well,
Try-
tell you what. Tell you what. If I teach you how to use a knife properly and to respect it, I'll let you have one.
Are you doing
sounds,
this by the captain?
That sounds like rules.
Maybe.
Or so are you asking Nim for a knife by the captain?
I'm wherever it's convenient. Honestly, this could be literally right after Nim's conversation.
So the captain will just kind of like lean over to you and be like, he's not allowed to have anything sharper than a hard-boiled egg.
They don't know that yet. It's not fair.
Well, now I do. Tell you what, do you want to spar with Meldo? Like he like gets on like his hind legs and just kind of like holds up like his little otter paws.
I'm gonna go get a knife. I'm gonna go ask the big man. He probably has knives. He's got the frilly gilly things. So he's gonna head for the buck knife. Mister, tug on the pant. Can I have a knife?
Sure. And he'll go into that very long bag on his. He'll set it down, and you're going to hear a loud thud, and he's going to undo 2 satchels. And inside, you're going to see a giant glaive. And all the way at the bottom, though, he's just going to grab you a hand axe and give it to you.
That's not a knife. That's a... He holds it like...
It'll cut like a knife.
He holds it like with both full hands, like gripped oddly.
Look, that's all I got, kid. Take it or leave it.
Fine. I'm gonna go have adventures with this. And they'll just be climbing up the rigging and on the front of the ship and on the side, on like the prow kind of area for the rest of the trip, holding up the axe. That's it. That's it for me.
I'm gonna take a moment to talk to the captain as well. Tell me, Captain, since we're on our way to this island, is there anything you can tell me about the location we're traveling to? This island of Ilighôn.
Oh, Ilighôn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ilighôn, it's God's a little over 1,000 years old now. After a whole event, the druids made it. I end up taking to the it's called Sapras, or Sapra rather. It's a major druidic city. It's really the only port available, both as kind of a defense for people trying to come in and out. Wholesalers, people, pirate, all that jazz. So.
Hey, what do you know about this Emerald Enclave that we received a note for?
He'll be like, well, as he like puts a hand underneath his badge that's just like the stamp on your letter. Well, our point is to keep, our world safe, not just from outside threats, like from the outside planes, but stopping nature from taking over and stopping civilizations from their overreaching.
Oh, yes, I read the letter, but I wanted to know more about specifically your point of view on what your organization does or needs.
I think they do good, but they're fairly neutral, which so the goods hit and miss sometimes. It's really up to interpretation.
I see, so it's really more of a gray than a green.
Sure.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Captain. Hopefully we'll have continued smooth sailing so far.
He'll flick his wrist, and just the motive light. Yep, should be good. At least through tomorrow.
And then Rick will leave, looking around the ship, talking to people, strumming his lute.
Kit will walk over to Elaine and do you want to find where we're going to be sleeping for the night?
Elaine is watching the rigging where I'm sure Orsoid is kind of like hanging and just like chopping at the air and go, yes, I think that would probably be all right. Are we sure this is where we're supposed to be? I'm pretty sure that's a child, like an actual child.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned.
Fast!
Well, he'll be fine, I'm sure. And she will just start walking away.
Loses
Yeah.
his grip and grabs the lower ring. I'm fine! I'm fine!
Elaine's just gonna kind of keep an eye for a second before falling in line behind Kit. And as they walk, she's going to kind of try and look more closely at the ship, trying to get an understanding of what this vessel is, where she needs to get her bearings of where those quarters might be.
To kind of piggyback off of that, as we are walking, Kit will quietly kind of lean down and say, I want to go underneath the ship because there's something weird happening here, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, like a ship doesn't sail itself.
A magnanimous dispensation.
I mean, I have to be honest, Miss Kit, this is the first ship I think I've ever seen, so I believe you when you say that it doesn't. It seems strange that it moves by itself, but I don't know, the captain seems a little like one of those travelers that used to come through the village sometimes and sing songs. Just really.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah, but Elaine's gonna like with the prompting from Kit actually wants to take a close look at the ship.
Yeah, as you two kind of go through, there's a few doors. One leads to the captain's quarters, another one leads to a staircase going down. The one to the captain's quarters just seems locked if you try it. Going down, again, as you go in, you don't hear any creaking, you just hear the splashing of the waves hitting the hull of the boat. And it just seems really quiet. You go in and it's a open eating area. There's a couple of tables that are secured to the floor, along with a couple of stools secured to the floor. There's cabinets that seem to have very light locking mechanisms so that they don't just open up and empty if there were supposed to be splashing waves. Going into sleeping quarters is through another couple of doors. There's 3 other sleeping quarters that fit about 4 people each. They're very nice hammocks, very fluffy pillows, a light blanket, but the blanket would seem very warm if you were to wear it. And then another set of stairs from another door leads downward into a storage room where there's just a bunch of crates and barrels. Each has like a label on it. You're not sure what they say though.
Kit, can you read this?
I don't think so. I mean, doesn't look familiar.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to see what kind of... I mean, I assumed this is where they would store the food. I was hoping to see what kind of herbs and stuff they used, but... maybe another time.
Can I pick up one of the boxes and shake it?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a bunch of dankling around in there, some straw.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Rick.
Yes.
As you're walking around the ship, a little bit of that seawater kind of splashes up in your face. And you get our first curse of the campaign.
I see.
You are incapable of ignoring direct orders given to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, fun.
Give me a knife.
Turk, you get our first good table. As you're playing around up there, you know, a child with a hand axe, you start feeling very invigorated by the swinging in the heat of the sun. Every hour, you regain a D12 hit point. And Elaine, as you were as Kit was like moving around one of the crates, something broke and splashed, leaked, and got onto you. But before you could get rid of it off your hand, it kind of just seeped into your skin really quickly. You feel really lucky, even especially as a halfling. You can add a plus 20 bonus to the result of a single skill check.
Elaine, like, will hold her hand and go, I don't, no worry. Don't worry, Kit. I'm all right. Whatever that is, it smells really nice.
Well, good. And she will reach for a rag to like hand it, but if Elaine doesn't take it, just kind of like shrug it off and assume everything's okay.
Yeah, Elaine will maybe like use it to kind of like dab a little bit. Very polite, and hand it back. Do you suppose that we should get to know the others? I'm not so great with groups.
I think we'll get through it together.
Okay. I'm really glad that you're here, Kit. I think I'd be in big trouble if it was just me.
Same. I'm grateful you're here as well.
Finally. Oh, go ahead.
No, Elaine will just nod and get ready to head back up top. Seemingly have given a look over and seen ship things.
Nim, as you're on the bow of the ship, checking everything out, a little bit of mirth comes over you as the salt water splashes onto your hand. You feel oddly tenacious. Every oppressive thought, negative emotion, and unhealthy anxiety that's been plaguing you disappears as your mind fills with confidence and calm. You gain 2 legendary resistances.
Can heck as a person have that?
No. Was anyone doing anything else before we move on to evening?
Say there, my boy. You have ever handled an axe before?
No, but it's really neat, right?
You seem like a young sort of lad. Is that the standard weapon you use?
No, usually I just bite people.
Just bite them.
Yeah,
Have
I
you,
don't
ever
really
been,
like.
have you ever been on an adventure before, my lad?
Kinda, a little bit, once or twice.
Truly,
I'll
this
tell you
is
what, my boy.
darkest dungeon.
It looks like you can't quite handle that axe. He pulls out a dagger. But a good adventurer always has one of these. You never know when you're going to have to cut yourself out of the stomach of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Drops the hand axe immediately. Is that a knife?
Oh, it's a dagger, son. It's a little bit different than a knife, but same principle.
Grabs it with that same double, like 5-fingered grip in both hands, like raises it like the sword of power in He-Man.
Ah, yes, that looks like a better fit for you. I'm surprised you didn't already have one.
They wouldn't let me have one.
Who wouldn't?
I don't know. I told them if I'm going to be on an adventure, I should have a knife. They didn't give me
Of
one.
course, every good adventurer has a knife. Do you also have 50 feet of hip rope?
Oh, of course I have that.
Of course, every adventurer needs that, just like they need a dagger. Well, there you go, boy. You can use mine for now.
You're the nicest person I think I've ever met.
Of course. If you ever want any more pointers, my boy.
He just goes and
come
hugs your
ask me.
leg immediately.
It just doesn't even phase him. Just kind of pats him on the head. Not to worry, lad. In fact, this calm voyage reminds me of the time of the case of the skeletal scallywags off the Sword Coast. What a time that was. Would you like to hear the story? Let's see, it was back in...
You can go on. He's just attached to your leg.
This goes on this long story of an adventure.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So night does fall. The ship does seem to continue going pretty well. It doesn't really get too much cooler, but it's very tolerable. The captain brings you all down for dinner. There's bowls of stew. But there doesn't appear to be a chef to make any of this. And the captain has not left his post, steering the ship. You are all welcome to eat and rest, says the captain. If there's any issues, you know where my quarters are? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Good. And he'll like nod his head, take his bowl, and head up to his quarters.
He never showed us where his quarters were.
Hoping we're smart enough to figure that out, though.
Maybe.
Well, he said to come to dinner, so I planned to come. I know what I said, boy.
He said dinner. It's supper. Come on. Check your clocks.
But yeah, I'll ask one of the, because there's a few crew here, or is it just him on the ship?
From what you've seen, it's Just him.
Okay. Then pretty much I'll go to whatever room is on the top deck, assuming that's where he stays.
I'm pretty tired. I think I'm just gonna go sleep. No, no one else. All right, well, fine.
Oh, I
Not
didn't.
our bedtime yet, kid.
My bedtime. I'm just tired. I've been busy adventuring. What have you been doing? Giving the old children hand axes after you went. Irresponsible. That's a big
Oh.
word.
Is this your axe, good sir? Holding out the hand axe he probably picked up.
He'll take it, but he's gonna like grab it in a way to make sure not to touch your hand.
Not
And just stow it back with his stuff.
well. If the young lad needs a nap, then I shall leave him to a nap. If the rest of you are ready for dinner, let's go find our way to the captain.
Well,
Sounds like a plan.
I think the captain left. I think that dinner's here.
Oh,
Am I wrong?
No,
Kid is
you're not.
grabbing a bowl and probably like partially like about to eat it.
Elaine's in
and
line
we'll
behind, like
stop
with
and,
a bowl.
sorry, I thought he asked us to dine with him.
That's okay. She'll just kind of like look at everyone and put the spoon back into the bowl and be like, "So, are we waiting to eat?"
I think he wanted to be alone, is what I understood. He took his and left. The magic ship made magic dinner.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I'm just used to dining with the captain of the ship. Well, if he wanted some time alone, then I suppose we should grant it to him. Well, then, dig in, my friends, dig in. Lord knows we'll have a busy day tomorrow.
Orso's just busy in the back grabbing a bunch of blankets.
So Nim.
Yes.
Thank you to Dev. As you're eating, this stew tastes odd to you, and so odd that it messes with your mind a little bit. You must only answer questions with lies, unless you are asked about the reason for your behavior, in which case you must respond in the affirmative. So if someone asks you you're lying, yes.
Okay.
Orsoid. Oh, we can't do that one. Until this, you go to bed and you're feeling real comfy in your blanket, but you feel like something feels really itchy about this, which makes you start having a weird little reaction. Until the end, you constantly sniff and have a runny nose. You have disadvantage on stealth, persuasion, and deception checks. And for Kit, you don't wear shoes, do you? Okay, well, but you do have flippery feet, which are now they now squeak loudly with each step. And finally, our pièce de résistance. Apparently, it is Elaine. You find, while you're about to go to bed, Elaine, you're checking your stuff and you find a wooden spoon in your bag. Every time you retrieve an item from that bag, you will find another wooden spoon. Every time you investigate an area, you will find another wooden spoon. Every time you search a body, and you will find another spoon. But
Yeah.
if you ever try to find another spoon, you won't find one.
Okay.
I'm just hearing this as a boon. All I'm saying.
Yeah, Elaine, she would sit quietly next to Kit and eat dinner, and then go to like where she'd probably stashed her items in the bunk room to go find like a sketchbook. And she would quietly be rustling through there and pull out a wooden spoon. Oh, she must have tucked it in when I wasn't looking. Okay. And we'll set it to the side and pull out her notebook and then sit kind of on her little hammock bunk or whatever and quietly sketching.
That is all it for this evening. Anyone have anything else?
Can Kit in like the middle of the night at some point wake up to like just be awake and be nosy and just like take a stroll around the ship?
Yeah, like on the outside or like on the top in the water?
She definitely wouldn't go into the water unless somebody was there, but she just wants to like quietly walk around and like take in everything and kind of even like put an ear up to the captain's quarters door, or just kind of like with her big squeaky clown shoe feet attempt to just see if the same things that are happening at night were happening during the day and vice versa.
Yeah. So as you go upstairs, you'll see that there's a very faint green glow coming from beyond the captain's quarters. From behind it, you just hear snoring. As you kind of walk around the ship, you'll notice on the hull there seems to be what looks like barnacles, but as the moonlight hits them, they kind of seem to open into very small blossoms.
It is going to do the one thing that every D&D adventurer knows not to do, but she's going to do it anyways. If she can reach one to touch it, she's going to touch the barnacle.
Yes. You do touch the barnacle, and it just feels like any other flower. It feels a little bit leathery, almost kind of like yourself. Something you did not really expect. You would probably guess that it is leathery to help it exist against the salt water. It has a very dark purple coloration to it with you get like a little bit like yellow pollen on like the tip of your hand. If you tried to remove it, it just seems like you can't get a grip. It is very much attached to the hull.
She will say something, knowing that there's a good chance that it's not going to understand anything, but she'll just greet it in like what is it, Aquan? That is like the general language of undersea creatures. Just give it like a little, like a tap and a hello, just to see if it responds, knowing that there's a really solid chance it likely won't.
Give me a quick persuasion check.
I've got negatives on that. Do you want to pick something else?
You have a +2 from chat.
Oh yeah, never mind. Anyways,
You have a
'cause I got
negative when you rolled a natty.
a +2. So 21
Would you like
total.
to use that +2 or no?
I'll hold on to it, actually.
Okay. With a 19, you just do like a pat. You're greeting an Aquan. And for the first time, you're going to hear like a creak come from it, from the entire ship. the first time you've heard a creak come from this ship.
She will ask out loud in Aquan again, like, are you guys okay? It's just starting to be concerned that, like, if something is happening.
There'll be another creak. It's very quick. But other than that, you don't hear anything or feel anything or see anything different with the ship.
Okay. And I don't recognize these as like normal under the sea creatures that I might have come across in my swimming days.
No.
Okay. All right. Then she will tell them good night and wish them well and be very polite and just give them another little tap and then walk away and think to herself,
All right.
that's sketchy.
Okay. If there is nothing else, we will move on to the
I
next.
got one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
So Puck periodically throughout the night is going to walk up onto the top of the ship and just continuously like check that notebook once every couple hours to see if anything is different with it.
Nope. You you don't seem to notice anything new appearing or disappearing from that book. Taking that as you will.
He's just gonna mumble under his breath. He's like, I guess it's too soon, and head back off to bed.
I'm curious, like, what time of night are people doing this, like, generally? Because Nim only needs 4 hours of sleep.
I'd imagine he did it like 2 a.m.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, Kit probably would have made a point to just like wake up at some time before sunrise. So, I mean, if we're having like a normal sunrise at like 5 a.m. or something like that, she probably would have done like 3, 4.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, Nim would do his trance and then, I don't know, just kind of wake up, get ready for the sunrise, look for any like birds or life on the ship that he hasn't seen really before to make note of, that kind of thing.
You see the usual gull, maybe a pelican. Nothing out of the ordinary from what you can tell.
Are
But
the
you do see on the
barnacles normal?
horizon. You will see on the horizon as day breaks. Something. You assume the island. In the morning, much like when you all went to dinner, you awake to the smell of food served in the mess hall, all ready for you. Utensils spread out, bowls of what you assumed are rolled oats, plates of fruit, a few handfuls of various like walnuts, peanuts, pecans, almonds,
Spice nuts.
God damn it, Turk. You don't really see any like meats, but you do see like cheeses.
Rick will partake of the food.
Same as
So
Nim.
Puck mainly just sticking to the fruits out of everything there.
And you do hear like the slight tacking of boot heels on the gang or the wooden planks above. So you assume Captain Alistar is moving about.
Elaine will come in the morning and kind of go over to the stool and awkwardly climb on top. She'll sit on the end of the table and prepare herself a small little bowl of breakfast and just sit quietly watching everyone and just eat breakfast.
Orsword has brought entirely too much food for a being of his size, but he eats it all. He's still wrapped in one of his blankets. It's cold.
Do you plan on wearing that all day?
Maybe. I don't know. Do you?
Don't you think it's going to get wet?
No, I'll dry out later.
Okay.
It's fine. Because it's small and it's big. I can just change the parts I'm wearing.
Small and big. Oh, you're going to, okay. You know, if that's what you think will work, okay.
I mean, it's cozy. Do you want one? They're just giving them away over there.
Well, they're for sleeping. Is it
Kinda-
Orsoid? Is that right?
I can't think of anything funny right now. So yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, just you know what? You're fine. Do you, Orsoid?
Yeah, I will. You do you, Elaine.
Yeah. Elaine Thistletop.
Oh, that's a fun name. Diesel on top of what?
Well, just that's it. There's nothing else on top of a thistle except for the top.
Hmm.
Elaine's going to kind of reach down and pull out a small sketchbook where she'll flip through some pages really quickly and then hold up some sketches of thistles where she's broken down the different parts and is diagramming. See, looks like this.
Mm-hmm. That looks like one of the plants. It's very pretty
fantastic.
though. Oh, sorry.
You're right, you're right. They're fantastically drawn.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy it. So, and she'll quickly close the book, and tuck it into her bag. Anyways, do we know what the plan is today? Are we arriving?
Well, I believe that's up to the captain.
Oh.
Perhaps we should go and find him and ask him about the journey so far.
Weren't you saying you're gonna have dinner with him?
Well, it's the morning now, boy.
Make an excellent point, Rick.
Come on, my lad. Let's go see the captain. You could leave the blanket. Don't want you to be a wet blanket after all.
And that's a bad thing, yeah?
Depends on your point of view, I suppose.
Doesn't sound very good. Alright.
Unless you travel to the plane of fire, then it's a very good thing.
Literally getting static in my headphones right now.
Rick will head up top to go talk to Captain Alistair.
I'll follow after. In a very serious trump. With my knife.
Oh God. Well, Guten Morgen. Who gave you a knife?
You asked too many questions. That's my job around here.
Tell me, Captain Alistair, we were curious of when the ship should arrive into port.
Oh, within the next hour, if you look upon the horizon, good Charlemagne.
Yes, let's see here. Rolls a perception check.
Oh, you just have to look. You don't even have to perceive.
Well, I still got to 12.
Yes, you do see on the horizon an island that seems to be getting bigger.
Ah, yes, good. Tell me, once we arrive at the island, is there a constituent there that we should be meeting with?
They'll probably be there. I'm not giving all the details. I'm just to bring you there. Speaking of, and he'll just do like a couple of hard stomps with his heel. Everybody come up top.
Kit will hear that
Woody.
and walk upstairs.
Puck's gonna groan as he gets up, but he's gonna pick up that bowl of fruit as he walks up with it.
Yeah. Elaine's going to gather up her effects, going to look to make sure she didn't drop anything. Hold up another wooden spoon. I thought I'd already had. Put it on the table and then follow up.
All right, boys and girls. And he's going to procure a nice, like, crystalline bowl. Could probably hold up a good gallon of liquid in it. Any and all individuals who have spellcasting foci, please place inside of this bowl. Thank you.
I'll walk. Orside will walk over, look him right in the eye, look like he's gonna put the knife in, and then go and drop a single piece of a candy in.
Not even the wrapper, huh?
Nope, unwrapped.
Half
That's how
licked.
serious this is. Quarter licked. It's go time.
I'm afraid my only magical focusing item is myself. Not sure I can fit in there.
Do you have anything you use? Any crystals, orbs, amulets, wands, etc.?
I'm afraid not, my good sir. Unless I count the enchanting sound of my lute.
And he'll finally look over to Puck. Anything?
Magic's not for me.
Oh, good. And he'll just chuck the crystalline bowl behind him because there's literally nothing in there and he doesn't care about it.
Yeah,
All right,
there's-
so there's going to be a cool, weird thing and you're all going to have to not freak out. Good? Good. This is great. Because as you approach, the ship very quickly comes to a halt and you all just kind of stumble as before you on each side, you can hear water rushing and wind whipping as 7 gargantuan elementals surround your boat. They look at each of you. They look around the ship. You'll see one of the water elementals dip a hand onto the ship, and you'll see parts of the water going between the floorboards inside of the ship. And you'll see one of the air elementals kind of swoop around, blow into each of the sails. And then shortly thereafter, one of the large water elementals just bring its arm back and recede into the water. And the air elementals will dissipate. Like, oh, good. I'm glad none of you guys lied to me. That would have been not great.
Kit?
And while still wide-eyed looking around, not even looking at Elaine. Yes, Elaine.
Did that just, were there just,
Mm-hmm.
and they,
Yep.
and then,
Mm-hmm.
First time seeing a boat powered by elementals, huh? Remember in the younger days of my youth, I watched an airship that flew on the power of a fire elemental. It's quite a sight to behold.
I don't know what those words mean in that order.
Aim.
Well, give it a few years, it'll come to you.
Oh, my good Charlemagne, they don't actually power my boat. This boat, not mine. It's not possessive. Those guard Sapra from any ne'er-do-wells, and also potentially magic peoples who would do it harm.
Ah, see. I suppose this island must be very well protected with guardians such as that.
Pretty well. I mean, it's who's gonna really want to fight 7 gargantuan beings of the elements just to get to an island? Put your hand out.
When you adventure enough, you go looking for things like that, my boy. Yes, Orfred, did you have a question?
No, I said I wanted to fight him. That sounds
Oh, kids.
because I have a knife now.
Well,
Right.
afraid you have to work on cutting water and air with it then.
All right then, challenge. We'll do it.
And
Why not?
And with a slight jerk, the ship begins going full speed ahead again.
Oh. Elaine's kind of like pointing at Orsoid and then back at Rick. I like kind of like are they for real? Like but like not really saying anything. And I think like as she's doing this makes eye contact with Puck and just like that, like almost like, is this for real? Like this.
Yeah, this is happening.
Should he have a knife?
Maybe. Maybe not.
All boys need knives when they go on an adventure.
Okay, he's just waving that around a whole bunch.
Well, I suggest you give him a 5-foot range then.
That's the bleed range.
I'm more concerned about him. I mean, he's had that wet blanket on for a long time. I am afraid that he's been running around and sweating and the cold blanket and the knife, and I'm just concerned we might have a hypothermia situation, is all I'm saying. Did none of you come with him? Is he... Elaine's gonna put a hand up to Nim. Do you know him?
Not personally, though I saw him come with some type of guardian. I'm not entirely sure why they aren't on the ship, but they seem to trust this. And he just kind of like pans back over to Orsoy and it's like kind of gives that wince, like, I don't get it either.
Ah, come now. I'm sure the Emerald Enclave has the reasons for sending him a letter.
That or his guardians just wanted to get rid of him.
Well, all the more reason for him to grow.
Okay.
It'll be fine. Boys will be boys after all.
Elaine's gonna kind of take a couple steps away. Just looking very concerned at like how everything is starting to play out. And look at Kit and
It will not respond. She will just let it
Yeah.
happen.
yep, and Elaine, okay. Okay.
Well, since we're close to reaching shore, I suggested we gather our belongings and prepare to depart once we get there. Sure, the Enclave is eager to speak to us once we arrive.
Agreed. Say, how long ago did all of you get correspondence from the Emerald Enclave?
Well, it was just a few days ago before I got my letter. Thankfully, they caught me near the area. I might not have been able to attend.
Yesterday.
Around that same time.
I got it the day we did a set sail.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't wipe the floors good enough. Did it, just did my feet, so looked just fine. But no, I got it. Mop goes off.
Yeah, mine arrived, I think, a week or so ago. It was surprising. It was very surprising. I wasn't expecting to see parchment where, I lived, beneath the waves, but they managed to do it somehow. I was very impressed.
Mine was a very last second arrangement. So I think it was only a couple hours before we met up at the dock.
I got where I was staying. That's where I met Kit, actually. You got yours there as well, right, Kit?
Yeah. A couple of days ago, maybe? Not too long ago.
I mean, I'm here to help, so whatever we need to do, I'm okay with doing it. So, I'll go. I'm gonna go. And Elaine's gonna hurry off below decks to gather up her stuff.
Okay. And roughly 20 minutes later, you do arrive at the docks of the Druidic city of Sopra. It is a sight to behold, as gigantic plants and trees are intertwined with civilization. And it is at this point, Rick, that you feel a little odd. Slightly drained, whether it's from the long sail. Maybe you didn't have enough for breakfast, but just a little bit of lethargy.
Oh, old age is starting to catch up with me. I'm no young spring chicken. He'll find a place to sit down for now.
The captain will assist anyone with taking their belongings off the ship. As you know, the gangplank is set up by itself. And once everyone is off it or checked by itself. And the captain will wave you a fond farewell.
Before they get too far, once Elaine steps off of the plank onto the dock, she'll turn around and kneel down and put a hand on the boardwalk and just whisper, "Thank you for everything. I really enjoyed the oatmeal."
Can you give me a quick persuasion check?
Yes, I can. And I would like to use, let's see. I have to roll a disadvantage. Thanks, Ty. Good jerk. Okay, so that's a 5.
A 5. Okay. You thought you heard a creaking coming from the ship. You're not entirely sure if it was that or the docks that you're on.
Yep, she'll just pat and stand up and start timidly walking the direction she's supposed to. She'll take like a couple steps and then clearly like second guess herself and look around for Kit.
Yeah, Kit will quickly follow as well, give a thank you. If she sees the barnacles or barnacle-like creatures, she will again, probably in Aquan, say thank you, goodbye, good sailing, the whole 9 yards to them as well, and just kind of like nod and walk off.
Okay.
Once we step onto the beach, I would think that Meldo probably finds a rock that he really likes and is just going to like stash it somewhere. That's going to be his favorite rock for a little bit.
Just stealing things right off the bat, I see.
This rock, this is the good shit.
Yeah, perfectly good tummies to smash clams on.
God damn it. Okay. And as you're all just kind of like looking around, the captain's not moved yet. You will see an elven woman making her way towards you. She seems to be a bit shorter, but still lithe like most elves. And she wears a dress full of colorful leathers and feathers. At first you don't see, but with her is a fox. She says, "Hello, my name is Physidelia, and I am here to take you to the house of Sylvanus."
Pleasure to meet you, Philodelius, and your fox companion. We will be most gracious to be taken to the house of Sylvanus.
And don't mind Forthright there. He can be a bit nosy.
Can I go over and pet Forthright?
You can attempt to.
I'm gonna head over.
Give me
I'll give you nothing.
animal handling, I guess. A 13.
13.
Okay.
Do I get a little boost if I know this animal? Do I know the thing? Do I know this critter?
You do not know either of these people.
Dang it.
Unfortunate. But with a 13, Forthright does kind of like come up and sniff your hand. It's a little skittish to allow you to pet it. But it does kind of do like a little yip at you and just kind of pounce away just kind of like looking at everybody and coming up and trying to sniff them like stealthily. And
Oh.
then once he's seen, he'll just kind of like back off a little bit and kind of do a little bit of a turnaround and run.
I'll mirror him around people's legs.
I assume you're all ready, have all of your things.
I wasn't aware that we were house guests. I'm afraid and then noticing everyone kind of like looking at her again will get really quiet. I just, did we need to bring a gift?
Oh, no. You'll come to do the initiation into the Enclave.
Oh, of course.
So follow me, and she'll turn, and you'll just hear like the little clinks of her little bits and baubles hitting each other. And what looks like Forthright trying to almost corral you to follow her. Whether that means you having to follow him, their Orsoid, trying to get him to pet you, and he will try to like taunt you that you can try to pet him, but you have to follow him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll pounce away.
I'll pounce right after. All fours is fine by me. No, literally, he'll follow after on all fours.
Oh.
Just as comfortable.
And as you go down, she takes you what she calls the Hierophant Trail. It's gorgeous, littered with different flora and faunas from as you see, all of which seem not surprised or even bothered by anyone walking down the trail. The deer cross a path in front of you, raising their heads to look at you and continue on their way. A few birds skirt past you down the trail and disappear into the trees that line the trail next to you. A few rabbits come out of the underbrush, standing on their hind legs, sniffing at a few of you. And as Forthright looks at them, they scurry away, and Physodelia scolds him.
I must say, Physodelia, the land here is quite breathtaking.
We've spent years.
You and your enclave have done mighty fine work here.
Living in tune is difficult sometimes, but as you can see, it's well worth it.
Indeed. Indeed, this island does produce many beautiful things. I'm gonna roll a persuasion check with that. It's a 17.
What are you trying to do?
Be friendly. You know, she's a beautiful elven creature.
Ooh. Well, thank you. It's again, it's a lot. So I hope that you've all had a nice ride here. I know Captain Alistar is an interesting fellow. His ship even more so.
Oh, yeah, she was quite the gentleman with us. Not much for conversation, I'm afraid, but, you know, to each his own.
Beautiful ship, and might I say, one very easily to get acquainted to. In terms of sea legs, I know not all of us have sailed before. I don't think I saw anyone get seasick.
It's a little weird, right? That nobody seems to have any issue with the ship.
No, not weird at all.
Sounds like you have an issue with the ship.
It's unsettling sometimes, but I don't have to ride it anymore, so.
I'm sorry.
Better to not know.
Well, what's wrong with the ship?
I find it a little strange that it's kind of alive.
Are ships not like that?
No, not usually.
Oh,
Unless you hitch a ride with a dragon turtle.
well, it seemed very nice. It put just the right amount of cinnamon in my oatmeal.
You all walk this trail for what seems like a few hours, until you come up to a point where the trees converge into a single standing door frame. The only thing out of place. It's made of stone, brick, encased in vines and other plants. And the path just seems to continue forward, and you'll see Forthright just pouncing through, and you see him just the same trees, the same path, the same flowers, just beyond. And you see Physodelia just walk through as well.
I'll follow.
Following
Okay.
Forthright right through.
Yep.
And as you walk through, the world around you changes, and you see beyond a fantastic sight, a gigantic blooming tree with architecture built into it, roaring waterfalls that split off into further smaller ones. The sights and scents just completely different than what you were just in. The sound is nearly deafening as you first approach, slowly becoming more tolerable as you go on. And Fazdeli leads you to a path to the inside, as this is probably a great time to take our break. So everyone go and get a wet beverage or water, and we will be back with you shortly, like 10 minutes. And welcome back. My internet connection is unstable. It's great. We are turning to the House of Sylvanas. As you all are making your way up, Rick, Puck, and Nim, you all notice something odd in your peripheral. Something following you.
Do I have any idea, like size-wise or shape-wise, or just something?
You can tell that it is a bit larger than normal. It has more colors than you've seen, and you haven't seen something like this before.
Looks to me like a sort of bird of paradise or something like that.
Or a Quetzal, but different. It's magnificent.
I'm gonna pet it.
I don't know about that yet. Physodelia, could you tell us more about that bird?
She kind of she stops leading you for a moment and kind of looks around, and at first it takes her a moment to actually find it, as it swoops around into different trees, like, oh, and she gives it just like this leer and just like a grin, like, yeah, I've seen it around a few times.
So you don't know what it is.
Not really.
Can I roll an insight check?
You certainly can.
12.
Uno momento. Yeah. She seems to be telling the truth as far as you can tell.
Well, it seems a bit odd that a enclave of druids wouldn't know animal that exists in their own house.
Well, I mean, you expect me to know every animal on this entire island?
Hard to say. There only can be so many animals on this island, can't there?
There's an innumerable amount of animals. This is no islet out in the archipelago of the Sword Coast. Ilighôn is massive. It is miles.
I see your point.
Especially birds. I mean, they come and go as they please, and not just from this island, but from the lands around.
Well, as
Yeah.
I said, okay.
At this point, like Nem has already like gotten out his tools, like his sketchbook and like this kind of set of just different like graphite leveled pencils at this point, and just trying to get like as much of the sketch of this bird as he can, just to like kind of gauge the personality and just kind of rumble it, because he's never seen anything quite like this before.
Would you like to give me an insight check?
Oh, I would love to do that. Let me get to my character sheet. I did not have it open for this.
We're level 1. We don't need to look at our character sheets.
You're
Yeah.
level 1, Tony.
Yeah, 9. No.
9. Okay. Yeah, it's a interesting bird. It hops around, like any bird do. It's about all you can gauge off it at this moment in time.
I got a question.
Yes.
Would in all my years of life have I seen something similar to it?
You have not. Like, I don't even need you to roll. Like, and how you're what, 700 ish?
Mhm.
Yeah. In your 700 years of life, never once have you seen an animal like this before.
This must be extraordinarily rare.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it lives only here, or does it travel? Do you know?
Well-
Then he's gonna turn to Nim and go, "Do you know anything like this? You seem very interested."
In fact, I don't. Wait. Oh no, the bad table.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
of
can
course.
lie.
I know. I'm so bad at this. I keep forgetting. I need to write a larger note on my sheet. Yeah, it's obviously a Quetzal of some kind.
Just gonna feel like hands on your back as Orsoy is like climbing up your shoulder to look at your sketch. You're really good at drawing.
Well, thanks. I've been doing this for quite a while. Things get a little boring when you're on ships, and it's kind of nice to be able to do it. You can't really do the same thing when you're under the water, so it's very unique to being on land and on a boat.
So what's it called?
Put me on the spot here. Yeah, I think the scientific name of this is Quetzalus feyronii, maybe?
Very interesting. But I must say, we've probably had enough of bird watching. We should probably move on to speak to our host, as it were.
Yes. I'm sure there'll be plenty of time for drawing once you're done from this evening. I'm sure this bird will be here somewhere. And she will lead you inside the house. She will open the door but stay outside. As you all enter a grandiose, what one would assume sort of like a chapel, but it doesn't have a whole lot of religious iconography inside. At the end is a very large, ornate-looking table, behind which is another elven woman with a very large staff that holds a light inside of it. Greetings for all of you. My name is Thessalia, the Archdruidess of the Enclave. Please, come in. Have a seat.
Pleasure to
Nim
meet you.
walks in and takes a seat.
Pleasure to
And
meet
you'll
you,
notice-
Thessalia.
You'll notice that it is just her in here. There are a few like rodents and birds just kind of skittering about. They don't make too much noise, even with the very tall ceiling in here. I assume you are all here for this evening's initiation into the Enclave.
Well, I assume you were the one that sent out the invitations.
More or less. Usually it is through the contacts. Apparently you had caught the eye of one specifically.
I see. Tell me, Archdruidess, what exactly would it be that you need our services for?
Well, to protect the realms as any Enclavian would. The threats are ever changing and ever present, whether they be here on this world or in another, from people in different places. You seemed like you could be a skilled individual who could assist us.
Well, I was getting quite tired of retirement. Your invitation seemed interesting, to say the least. Can't speak for my other fellows, but yes, I'm here for said initiation.
You mentioned that someone in particular sent the invitations, but I'm afraid I don't know anyone from the Emerald Enclave, so I'm not really sure who that would be. Will we be meeting them later?
They should meet you at some time should you pass your initiation, of course.
Oh. Is this like a... What is the initiation exactly?
It is different each moon. We change it so that there are those who believe they can cheat, in a sense. And as such, me and other Enclavians who will be testing you alter it between the cycles.
Elaine's gonna look at the other people here. Okay. If I knew, I would have studied.
Young lady, life's not about studying, it's about getting in there and doing it.
Right. But I just This is all. You're all okay with all of this.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm okay with it until I'm not okay with it.
I'm fine.
Yes, well, I have. Mr. Puck, you were saying something?
Why wouldn't we be?
I mean, that's fair. I guess I just.
Let me ask you a question, young lady. You got the invitation, correct?
Yes.
And you made the conscious choice to get on the boat and come out this way.
Yes.
So, in some sense, you too were okay with it, were you not?
Yes, I just. Well,
look-
then she'll look at the Archdruidess. I just assumed that at some point, it would make a little more sense. I'm okay to continue on. I don't want to give the wrong impression. I just wanted to try and ask. That's all.
I can sense your hesitation, young Elaine. Are you having doubts? Do you wish to not continue?
No, I just. I'm just nervous.
And that's
That's-
okay.
Yeah.
Your hesitation is something not everybody has. And it is a quality I find admirable, to take a moment to think things through, to question how things could be or what they will be, and how you can change them.
I don't know if I can change him. Really. I mean, I just, again, sorry to cause a scene. And Elaine's gonna kind of melt into like the background of the scene, kind of like taking a sidestep.
Well, perhaps if you could tell us a little bit more about tonight's initiation, may ease the young girl's mind.
Well, unfortunately, we do not tell our initiates beforehand what happens or what will happen. Miss Fizedelia will be showing you to the waiting room until dusk. And as she says that, Fizedelia will open the door, but she's not the one stepping through. As an acolyte, fully dressed in dark brown robes, rushes in with a bundle in his arms. It's quite a large bundle. You'd assume it's larger than Orsoid, or about his size. And you see the Archdruidess look at him with a question on her face. Is everything okay? You're rushing in here, and as he gets up there, you see her face just go pale. As she quickly takes the bundle from him and goes over to the table, and you see her casting a spell. And you hear the acolyte say, "Miss, I'm so sorry. We found him like this. We don't know what happened, but what do you do?"
You guys mess up the initiation.
So the guy that came through looks like he's hurt or
He was carrying a bundle,
a bundle.
and the Archdruidess took the bundle and was casting a
Yeah.
spell on it.
No. Would you care to enlighten us into what happened?
Are you talking to the acolyte?
Yes.
Oh, well, you see, he seems very worked up too and kind of out of breath. He just booked it here.
Let me Can I roll a persuasion?
Yeah, you don't need to. He just needs like. I just I found Eric over at an old den. I rushed him here. I don't know what happened. He needed help. I couldn't help him. And you'll see Fazadeli kind of come in and comfort him. Like, just tell us what happened. And it's just walking down one of the paths around. And I saw Eric on the ground. And when I got closer, and he'll just kind of like gesture towards Thessalia. And Fazzadelli will kind of walk up and see, and oh, well, yeah, I can understand that. Where did you say this was? And he'll respond, the old wolf's den, but nothing's been in there for years. I don't know what could have happened.
Do you think something in the dens attacked the poor lad?
I don't know. I didn't take the time to look inside, but if something's in there can hurt people, I'd probably have to do something. And Thessalia will look over her shoulder and just, you'll see like kind of tears in her eye, and just, please deal with the problem as your initiation. And
Question.
yes.
Can any of us tell, is Eric a person, an animal?
Give me a quick perception check.
$11.
You're not entirely sure. You would guess that it's probably a person, but it could be person-sized.
So we'll get started then.
Now tell me, can you tell me what happened with the wounds on Eric? Just to give us an idea of what might be in there.
Well, you see, and you can kind of go up, and the archers will stop you from kind of getting much closer. I don't know what could have done that to him, but
Can we take a look? Gesturing to the bundle.
Archers will start. I have it covered. A very assertive voice, but not aggressive. Just
no offense needed.
I'm sure that you can handle whatever's there. Please, for
Very
my
well.
son.
Well, since they have asked us to deal with it, I believe we'll have to go deal with it.
Yeah, it's part of the trial, and I'd love to help.
Faizadelia will look at the accolade, and you remember the way there? And he'll nod his head. Yeah, I can show them.
Is this going to be okay with you, Miss Elaine?
Of course. I'm here to help.
Well, very well then. I think we're all in accord then.
Yes.
It hasn't said much, in my opinion, but
Just you in, Kit? Then. Yeah, head nods are good. will be set. 'Cause I've got a knife.
Now that the background music is gone, it's very quiet.
Yes.
I killed it with my knife.
As the acolyte brings you about a half a mile's journey to the outside of a cave, you enter. And that's not what I needed.
Okay, who put the caster up front?
Me. The ceilings, floors, and walls of this den are made of damp, naturally shaped stone. The height in the ceiling varies, but on average, it's roughly as tall as a chamber corridor is wide. There is no light other than what you bring. After a 15-foot descent into the naturally formed cavern, you enter a large chamber. 3 tunnels branch from it, one to the west, 2 to the east.
Can I go down to the intersection and roll a perception check down both ways?
You can certainly try. Oh.
Yes, a 5 on my perception.
You don't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Yes, igneous rock. I'll recognize it anywhere.
At this point, would we see any things like tracks or claw marks? Things like that?
You're not... Nothing that... Give me a nature check or survival check.
Oh, I will try nature 13.
You do find claw marks, but nothing of it is fresh.
These are old.
Oh, yep. That would be why, Chrissy, I did not give you permission.
Yeah.
Oh no.
To your character. Got it. My fault.
Elaine's going to, her garb is very like plain and everything's kind of tight. She has a little cape with a hood on it. And you'll watch as she drops her hand back, reaching underneath her cape as like we start kind of moving into the cave. And she's going to take a hold of something underneath her cape and look back at Kit. I'm still pretty new at this. I don't know how it's gonna go. Can I count on you to have my back?
She will step up and put a hand on her shoulder and, of course, always.
Things might get a little crazy. And Elaine's going to step in to stand behind Puck and Rick.
I'm gonna look down this hallway.
Sure, give me a perception check.
Well, I guess I could. Only a +1 for a 20. -2 because thank you 100 league for an 18.
Okay. Yeah, you hear the chittering of bats inside. You can smell their guano. And that's about it.
There's some stinky little flying critters that way. Not much else though. I don't know if they attacked that guy, but they don't smell nice.
No, just don't disturb them and they'll just kind of stick to themselves. Retail bats, though, here Interesting.
Yeah, fancy bat poop.
Huck's gonna definitely push forward more towards this side.
Sure.
Elaine will stick with him.
So that's blood.
Yes.
So upon seeing this, clearly a totem, he's gonna go up and look at it.
Yep.
What does it look like?
It doesn't exist. This map is used for part 2 of this adventure.
So
Well,
this
it's used for both, but the totem is for part 2.
okay. So just the blood pile then there actually.
No,
Okay, so both are not there. Okay.
correct. Sorry, it's yeah.
Ah, the mystery of the elusive cave.
But these walls are like I said, these walls do have like moisture to them. There are vines in here. They're very pale in color.
Is this also you telling me we should be going the other way?
Who knows? I know,
Insight
but who
check the
knows?
DM, please.
Infinite.
I'd like a vibe check
deception.
here.
It's spooky dooky.
By the way, Tony, Chrissy needs permission to move her character.
What the French toast? Yeah. You're gonna go blind for a moment. That's completely natural.
It's one of the side effects.
It's another curse.
Spoop.
So then, walking into this room, what do I see?
You like I said, you see vines on the walls, some moisture. You see, probably a couple spots of blood. But
Is
other
it-
than that,
Is it vines like we're on the ship?
no.
How are they different? Describe the vines.
These vines are climber vines. The other vines, which I totally remember telling everybody, all 5 of the types of vines, were more like twining vines.
Okay. Yeah, he's just gonna keep moving in towards the upper stairs here.
Okie doke.
Well, I guess
Elaine,
we're going that way.
yeah, Elaine's gonna keep following. She's going to look at the vines. She's not touching them. Again, having her hand underneath her cape, but she's going to look at them to try and see if they're like any plant she's seen before. Because like
Sure.
it's dark in here, they're pale, but there's no sun.
Yeah, give me a nature check.
I'd love to do that. I'm going to use my reroll that was granted to me by Cole. Thank you, Cole, because that was a nat 1. A 16 is much better.
So you haven't seen these vines yourself, but you've heard of them. A vine that kind of grows within caverns called the Decipula plant.
Can I get a spelling on that?
Yeah.
Thank you. If I know a name, do I know any traits?
They don't really make leaves. They're more of a leafless vine, so they would need to get their nutrients via root systems, which is why they have so many vines. They do that. They shoot out little roots from those, and they just hopefully find enough nutrients to subsist off of.
Elaine's going to look at the vines. These are special vines. They don't get energy the same way that other plants do. They need to source at the root. There must be some kind of energy fertilizer feeding them that they could grow this much in here.
On hearing that, Puck's gonna stop. And do one of the two pathways have more vines growing in it than the other? Or do they seem to be going one way?
Give me a survival or nature or perception.
That's a 6.
Not from what you can tell. There's just kind of a lot of vines on the walls and some on the floor. And the ceiling.
Perhaps as we continue on, we'll learn more about what's potentially in this cave. Recommend that we keep an eye out on not only ahead, but above our heads as well. Last thing we need is an assassin vine strangling us to death.
A very good plan. And also to stick together, and like Nev is just kind of like motioning it like Orsoid to like go the way that the rest of us are going. Like,
Oh, sure, yeah. It just kind of walks up, runs over to Nim, and just kind of like,
oh, the uppy is yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to carry you, or do you want Melville to carry you? He's large enough. You could ride on his back.
all right, the other.
Okay.
And yeah, he'll immediately take the new mountain style, but like literally just following wherever the group's going.
Oh, Puck, if no way seems like the clear way to go, I guess one guess is as good as any, yeah?
Well, let's just go up and see what we get.
All right, Puck, please stop where you are. All right. So as you walk there, you step on something. A tripwire, in fact. But I don't suppose a 7 hits you.
Nope.
As you trip this wire, you see a couple spears just shoop, and you're able to just back off for a second.
Does the trap seem like it was a one-time trigger, or did the spears reset?
It is a one-time thing. Could not think of the word.
Ah, very interesting. The old spear trap. I'm gonna make an investigation check. I want to see how old these spears are.
You can see that they're rusty. So at least fairly old just from looking at them.
Interesting that the old cave for wolves would have a man-made trap of them. especially one this old. Very curious indeed.
Something's not quite right. Guess we should not only look at the ceiling, but also to the ground.
Not for nothing, my good man, but if you're inclined to, may I take the lead, just in case there's any more of these man-made traps within these walls.
He'll just motion for you to go forward.
And Rick's going to proceed forward, making perception checks as we go through tunnels. Or leaving it at my passive, I guess.
Okay. Coming into this next chamber, it's nothing more than vines and moisture.
Nim thinks about what the captain said on the cosmic guide and how to look closer and look between the planks or between the vines, and just wants to give like a really keen eye to this room, and look between vines and just give this a really good look over.
In between, you notice that the roots crack into the stone, and that you do see like small animal bones, which you would assume is either they trapped or just ended up dying there, and just over time the plant, took the resources necessary to exist. You do notice though, they feel warmer than the surrounding stone, which is odd to you.
Can't say I've ever known a plant to produce heat. Feel these vines, they're warmer. That's odd. There's a very strange energy going on here.
With that, Puck, he's going to take one of his hand axes and cut open a vine.
Okay. They are small.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about the diameter of a pencil. You can easily chop one off.
Okay. Just see like what it oozes, like what the inside of it looks like, and a few other things.
You get a slightly viscous, clear liquid in your hand, almost like if you were to open an aloe. But it's pretty watery.
Does it smell off or anything like that?
No. Nothing more than what a plant should smell like, anyway.
All right. He's gonna take the viscous goo that he has on his hand and just lick it.
Oh. Okay. It tastes sour.
All right.
Careful with licking strange plants. You might find yourself waking up 3 days later out in the short coast.
It's like, well, if anything, it's normal, just sour a bit, but nothing really special about it outside the heat.
Rick's gonna continue down to following the chamber again, still keeping an eye out for any signs of traps or anything like that.
Okay. You do notice going down that there's an old sheath sitting off to the side in the room.
Like a sword sheath?
Yeah, but smaller. You see some vines kind of like growing over it.
Is it just a sheath, or does it look like there's a sword in there?
You'd have to get closer to do it, which it's down this way.
I'm gonna get to about here, so where I have a line of sight.
Mhm.
But and I'm gonna attempt Mage Hand.
Okay. It takes a moment, but it is able to kind of pull out a silver dagger. As the sheath is just like kind of crumples as it gets pulled out.
All right, I will move towards the dagger then. He'll
And
kind
it-
of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As you're all moving forward deeper in here, it does seem to get a little more humid.
Rick will pick up the silver dagger. Can I examine it for any like markings or engravings?
You can, but you don't find any. The handle is a little old from what you can tell. Otherwise, it's a usable silver dagger.
Hmm.
Fuck, as he comes closer to Rick, he's gonna look at it and go, "It'd be a good knife for the boy."
To be fair, I gave my knife to the boy. I might hold on to this one for now just to replace it. You never know if a pup or worm will come up and snag you. And with that, he'll basically take the dagger and sheath it in his empty sheath.
I'm gonna get that knife.
Well, let's see what else is along the way. Inch by inch, we crawl through the cave.
And going down, the air is thicker.
How many C's thick?
We'll go with 2.
Mm.
Okay.
That's some thick air.
Still no signs of traps or anything.
None that you can see.
Is the air like changing in smell or anything like that as we go down as well?
It gets more earthy. Like it smells almost like someone's opening up bags of topsoil. Is the
Okay.
equivalent I can give you.
So a greenhouse.
Kinda. And Puck, as you stand there, I don't suppose a 18 hits you.
It does.
It does. Okay. So as you're standing there looking around, one of the vines actually comes out and grabs you and like starts to exert a ton of pressure onto your arm. And you take 5 bludgeoning damage. And you are grappled. And while you're grappled, you're restrained, you're unable to breathe. As this vine just very quickly intertwines itself around you, ripping itself off of the wall to just completely entangle you.
Elaine will, like, as this happens and it tries to reach around Puck, Elaine's gonna jump forward and pull her arm out from under her cape finally, and reveal that she's wielding a great axe. And she's going to like slice that down the side of where he is just to try and get it so one of his arms can get free.
Go ahead.
So, let me see what I roll with this. That's an 18 plus 4 to hit.
Yeah, that super duper hits.
Sick. That's going to be 8. Let's see. Slashing damage, I believe. Yeah, 8 slashing damage as she just cleaves down across the vines near his left shoulder, or I guess right shoulder, whatever dominant hand, to try and help you get out.
And that is enough to cut it dead off the wall. And you see like the end of it just kind of rise for a second and stops.
Are you all right, Mr. Puck?
I'll be fine. It's like as he's pulling that last bit off, like the cuts from it are on his arm, but I'll be fine.
We should be careful. The further we go, the stronger it might be getting.
So, question. Is
Yep.
this one oozing the exact same stuff that the other one was?
Yeah.
It's just a thicker version of it.
Not necessarily thicker. It just seems it tingles to the touch.
Well, we'll have to be careful to stay away from the walls as much as possible.
Oh, speaking of, I would like all of you to roll initiative.
Oh, great.
As you see more of the vines ripping themselves off the wall.
Oh, wait,
Come
I gotta
at
click
you.
on my token first. Oh, bam.
Six.
Oh, is the music not going to want to work? Who am I missing?
Me, because Roll20 or D&D Beyond didn't want to put it, but it was a 13 if you want to add me. I don't know why D&D Beyond and Roll20 aren't working together right now.
And what did you get, Copper?
I got a 3.
Okay. Okay. So, this vine is going to come right towards you, Mr. Charlemagne. And actually have a decent speed. Weird. Does a 14 hit you?
Yes, it does.
You take 3 bludgeoning as this vine just coils around you. And you are grappled, restrained, and unable to breathe. Nim, it is your turn.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to kind of see that happen, kind of try to squeeze over in this direction and almost use his spear. He pulls out the spear from a pack, like on his backpack, and try to like stab, but also like leverage to like help out right here. And yeah, it's just gonna be like my action roll to hit. That's just flavor. But let's see what happens. Two-handed. Oh, great. Yep, we're starting great with a 6, everybody. A 6 to hit isn't gonna hit. But as my bonus action, I can command my little otter friend to also do an attack. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Who are you ordering this otter that I'm riding to attack?
Yeah, pretty much. This is a little medium creature, like over here, I guess, or just somewhere within.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect.
It's a battle I ride.
Sorry, let's see what happens. 17 to hit. Good job. Good job, Melgo.
17 will hit.
So can this vine be grappled?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll roll the damage, and yes, this is grappled as the otter basically like gives this thing like the biggest like otter hug it can, tries to bash it with its favorite rock. We're gonna see what happens.
Oh,
8 damage. And that's just the DC to.
Yeah, that just beats the shit. You basically beat the shit out of a vine with a rock.
Oh, great! Violent.
Violence solves everything.
Okay, well, that's all I can do.
Puck.
He's gonna go over to this guy right here, and I'm gonna make a glaive attack against him.
Sure.
That works. Hey.
A 15 will hit, yeah.
It's doing 25 damage.
25. Okay. 12.
Actually, no, it
damage.
was that rolled weirdly. It's a 25 to hit, 12 damage. Sorry.
Yep.
That
and you
rolled
just
oddly.
just swing and just cleave the plant.
And that's all I can do right now.
Elaine.
Elaine, sorry, I have a very needy cat that is more needy than the plants, it seems. Elaine is going to look around and try to see if there are any plants immediately by her that might cause problems for us laters. Yeah, I don't think she'll just start moving. Kind of ducking and diving between everybody else to get over here and like hold an arm back to the rest of the party and call like, I've got this one, just keep moving. I can take care of it. And that's gonna be my turn because it turns out hobbits can't go very far, and that would require a dash. So,
Hobbits can go very far, all the way to Mount Doom and back. Actually,
all the way.
It just takes a while.
Sorry,
I mean,
halfling. Sorry,
3
halfling.
books.
there and back again.
What's your reach though?
Let's see, 5 foot reach.
I mean, it's within 5 feet of you.
But I had to dash to get that far. I can only have 25. It took 35 feet to
got
get
it.
there.
Got it. All right.
I
Hit.
know. Bless my heart.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was measuring and not paying attention. Well, I was paying attention, but I was measuring first. So Kit is going to hear Elaine's order or direction. She is going to move up to about the 30. I was trying to figure out about where it is, and she would end up right behind Elaine. She is not going to move into this other room, but she is going to kind of just hold her back and hold an action. She's not going to attack because she cannot reach.
Okay. Orsoid.
Okay, so Elaine's express concern was to not worry about her. Easily done. Orsoid will trot over here. Keep trying to move on.
Okay. As you go there, you notice that the floors are slick with moisture. And you can hear dripping water.
Can I take my action to kind of like kneel down and start just sniffing at that water? I mean, is there anything? Is it a natural spring in the area, or is it more someone stacked up a bunch of water behind a dam and it's gonna come rushing down here eventually as a trap?
Nature check.
Sure thing. I thought I had nature, but I don't. 19.
Yeah, this tastes like natural spring water. Spewed over a babbling brook with a hint of lemon.
We're all
So
clear
you're
this way.
Talking about LaCroix here? What's happening?
I was
bubbly.
doing I was doing Ed and Eddie joke, but
Hey, Elaine, you got it, right?
but yeah, it doesn't taste like built up dam water.
So, want to double check? Elaine's got it?
Yeah.
The,
Mhm.
the vines, they move up. And they will attack. Does a 15 hit Elaine?
It will just hit, yeah.
4 bludgeoning, and you're the grapple restrained, no breathing.
Okay.
Rick.
Hang on,
Oh,
really.
oh.
Do they move into my reach for my held action?
Yep.
Okay. As soon as that hit, I would have reacted with a glaive swing to at least release the grapple. No, with a 10 to hit. Damn.
A 10 will not hit. These vines are just slightly thicker. Mr. Charlemagne.
You call yourselves vines, huh? You're nothing more than a bunch of twinners. Roll me a wisdom save against vicious mockery.
I got a 1.
Haha, not a
It
wisdom,
takes-
it's plant.
Takes 1 psychic damage, but it now takes disadvantage on its next attack roll.
It will take no psychic damage as it is a plant. However, it will gain the disadvantage.
Oh, no.
Because you can't tell me that the plant doesn't listen to words.
Mr. Nim.
All right. He is going to move kind of like to this corner over here. And seeing as the spear didn't really work too well, he's going to look for a just kind of like longer part of the vine that's more attached to the wall and isn't like, in direct line of his friends. And he's just going to take out his whip and just try to like hit it and yank it back. Oh, we're going to see because that modifier is better. 21 to hit.
A 21 will hit.
For 5 slashing.
And your whip does work pretty well. Another decent hit will probably cut the vine away.
All right. Unfortunately, Meldo is a beast of the water right now, so his movement on land is not enough to get over there. So he's gonna start waddling, but he doesn't go very fast.
Puck.
Looks like you got this, right?
Huck, you're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because she said she's got this. Again, believes that she's got this. I'm gonna move to there. And
Okay.
anything else in here or no?
Just like I told Orsoid, it's a little more slick in here with the moisture. You can hear the dripping coming from beyond.
All right, I'm gonna hold my action. Just if anything comes within 10, if any hostile comes within 10 feet of me, I'm gonna make an attack against them.
Okay. Melaine.
I'm just grappled, right? Grappled and like I can't breathe.
Grappled, restrained.
Restrained.
No breathing.
Okay. Okay. As the plant kind of wraps around tight, Kit would be the one that would notice because she's right there as she slashes around with her glaive. Elaine would look kind of scared for a second, and close her eyes, and kind of breathe, and then when she opens them, like there's just going to be like black, like rimmed around her eyes, as Elaine rages, to get out of this. And her face is going to go like, there's like fear. She closes her eyes, opens to completely stone-faced. And I want to try and attack this thing. And I roll at disadvantage, right? Because of the restrained.
Yep.
Okay, that's still a 15 to hit.
That'll hit.
Awesome. Oh, hell yeah. That's going to be 11 slashing damage as she's able to kind of like flip around her like her great axe, and it's almost like she just brings it like behind her and like drags down to cut away at the shoulder.
Which you do. These vines are now turned to shreds.
Elaine then kind of drops down to her feet and lets out like a long like as she starts breathing again, but just kind of stands there breathing heavy, and we'll look up at Kit again, that black rimmed around her eyes, and just do a very serious like nod, and begin to stalk towards the rest of the party. For full 25 feet.
Rick will look to Elaine and to Puck and say, "Are the two of you all right?"
Fine.
Elaine her head just slowly turns.
Perhaps a short rest is in order, just in case.
Let's keep going. We got a job to do.
Very well, sir.
You'll keep them alive if they fall down, right?
As you are all going through here, you all hear some kind of a guttural sound. Something you haven't heard before. Coming from the cave beyond where the dripping continues.
No, I've heard Dwarvish before.
Can I make a perception check on the sound?
Sure.
Got a 22.
It's getting closer.
Like, the drips are coming closer?
No. That guttural sound is getting closer.
Sounds like something's heading this way.
We brace ourselves then.
Elaine, wordlessly, her movements a little jerkier than they were before, moves up to the front and wields, like, kind of drops her great axe between her hands as she, like, prepares herself for whatever's coming through. Like, she's not wasting time.
If I may, perhaps backing up and getting ourselves the advantage might be in order, yeah.
After Rick says that, Puck's going to move alongside Elena.
We can take him. We're fit and ready. And I'll join the barricade.
Elaine just puts a hand up to Orsoid and pushes him back.
Oh, come on! I'm ready! I got a knife!
Her head kind of snaps to Orsoid, and like there's like a really intense look.
No worse than me. Oh.
And then Elaine's gonna keep moving forward, trying to trigger whatever the hell it is.
And Puck's gonna keep pace with her.
Okay.
Following shortly behind.
As you all make your way through, you see shuffling towards you a strange plant with a large bulbous head.
Feed me.
And I
Feed me,
need you
Seymour.
all to roll initiative.
Feed me
Okay.
all
Okay,
night
so I may or
long.
may not have deleted them.
All good. Yes! That's halfway decent initiative.
Not 20. Not 20 initiative. I'm ready, Seymour.
I got a 18. I'm not sure why it's not adding to there.
Not in this life, not in any others.
Did you click your token?
Oh, sword. Movie night. Beyond the undergrowth. Yep.
Okay, so now I gotta add one for Rick. And what did you get?
18.
18. Okay. Nim, you are first to act as you just see this huge plant-like creature just shuffling with its roots and vines towards you.
Oh boy. Alright, there isn't too much I can do from this range right now. I could always try to throw a spear at it. I do have the range for that. I don't think it'll pan out well.
You could throw me at it.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Tell you what. Yeah, I'm gonna do a throw and see what happens. Kobe. Natural 1. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
as you throw it, you just go between the vines of its body. And your spear just lands like way out here in the middle of the pool.
Yep. Never was good at the spear thing.
Fuck.
So I'm gonna move just slightly forward,
Uh,
and you're gonna see him inhale like a large breath. And Elaine, being that you're right next to me, you would start feeling static in the air, and then a flash of lightning from his mouth. And I'm gonna use my breath weapon attack. I'm gonna need them to make a dexterity saving throw.
plants are good at dex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So what's all needs to get a save?
Oh, what'd you roll?
Oh,
Oh,
who's
the
all
only one
rolling?
that. Let me measure this quick. There, and then it would be 5 feet. So
So
I
it's
think
a
it
line.
only. I think it's only going to catch that one
You going for the plant?
for the yeah.
He got a 19.
19.
Yeah.
All right, makes it. So he's going to take half damage on this.
4 damage.
And then I'm going to use the rest of my movement to come up into there.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Rick.
Seeing Puck breathe lightning out, he's gonna shout out, "Tell me, lad, are you resistant to that as well?
I am.
And if you'll permit me, I think it's time that we start the show."
Show.
Gonna move to here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's 15 feet away from Elaine. I'm gonna cast Thunderwave. So everyone within 15 feet, which should be those 3 plants, and then no, not there. Okay.
Wait. Let me go rummage from the edge. Yeah, you got him.
Okay. Then yeah, so everyone within 15 feet of me just sliding over a little bit so Elaine doesn't get hit. But they need to make me con saves. DC 13.
Okay.
I'm gonna use my advantage.
Much better. Much better.
All right. So one vine got a 15, the plant got a 21, and another vine got a 9.
All right. So it's a total of 9. Is that thunder damage? Yeah, thunder damage. Those that failed it take full damage and are pushed back 10 feet. Those that make it take half damage and are not pushed.
Okay. And you'll just like everyone kind of gets deaf for a second as a very loud boom bursts through this entire cave system. And just like a quick tinnitus is fine.
Was that thunder or lightning damage, by the way?
Thunder.
Thunder.
Mr. Kit. Miss Kit, rather.
Whichever. They will step around Elaine and move into about the reach. I want to just measure it so that I'm not like eyeballing it and getting it totally wrong. Within the 10 feet of the range of her glaive, and also take an attack. This motherfucking roll 20.
Bro. Change that colored dice. Change that color. No.
I'm gonna start rolling actual dice. So she swings high and misses.
Our GM is frozen in deep,
Okay,
deep
I
thought.
thought I was frozen. I got nervous.
Pondering all of
All the orbs.
every single orb in this cavern. I'm gonna roll a quick perception check to see that we've lost him.
Oh no,
Oh.
we
So,
lost him.
we're gonna go to
Always-
break.
Now.
Stand by.
by.
And we're
Hi,
back.
everybody. And my internet took a dump. So
We all
That's-
died off screen, right?
yeah, clearly. So Kit, you were attacking the plant.
You're muted, Kit.
Yeah, I did do that, but it was unsuccessful. So we were moving to Elaine.
Great. Elaine is going to seize the opportunity before she misses it, and is going to
Okay.
sprint in behind Kit. And there's that rock there that she's going to like take like a one like jump and then boost off that rock into the air with her great axe and try to bring it down on top of this plant because it's
If you
real.
want to flavor that to like run up Kit's back, you can.
Hell yeah, dude! Like if it could be like you kind of turn your shell so it's like a off the rock, off the shell, like down with the axe. Like I would absolutely love that.
Could you give like a Xena warrior princess thing yell while you do that?
No, actually, Elaine would be silent as she does
Ooh.
this. Like there's no like it's just dead eye as she does that. And that's a 15 to hit. GM.
That'll hit.
Hell yeah, let's wreck this thing. Oh, fuck yeah, that's max damage. So that's 14 plus 2 from my rage. Let me double check and make sure that's correct. Yeah, so 14 slashing damage as she just brings this thing down across like the... Like, I feel like she tries to catch it right on the rim of the jaw to try and cut it open. And then that's gonna be her turn. As she then lands, like hard on the ground, and head snaps back up to the plant.
Yeah, and as you clip its mouth, it kind of like almost looks at you, even though it does not have eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hear like the guttural sounds coming from deep within. I feel like it's probably going to try to destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
This vine is going to just move, and that's all it do. Orstoid,
Where the vine move to?
you don't see it. That's fine.
I don't like that very much. Fine, whatever. Orso is gonna run up with his new knife, and just run past them all. Oh, come on, you. Measure it out. Yep, he's got a bit more to go, but he'll just run up and try and stab him with the dagger. A natural one, because he has disadvantage with any humanoid. Just kind of awkwardly holding it and just whiff past.
Yeah.
If that's all right, he'll just whiff right past them and then continue on into the water.
All right. The plant will go. And we'll go for a lane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Do. Okay, so it's got to try to grapple you.
Okay. I can contest that, right?
Yes.
And I get advantage because I'm raging, right?
Yep.
Sick. I got a 17.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna beat it. But it's 9.
Woohoo!
But it's going to make a baby. A vine's gonna pop up.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know if we can show that on streaming.
What's
Tony.
more terrifying? A child.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
But then
From larger plants.
for its turn. No. Wait. This vine is going to seize the opportunity of Orstoid getting so much closer. But a 12, yes, yeah, no.
A 12 will
Orstoid?
exactly hit.
Wow, that sucks, because that's 6 bludgeoning damage.
Rude. That hurts.
And you're grapple restrained and you can't breathe.
Just shooting out of the
Shtick.
water like.
Nim.
All right. I just saw this little vine friend next to me, and I don't like that it's there. So we're gonna bonus action first. Try to get go to get rid of it. Let's see. So binding strike that. 21 to hit
Yeah, that'll hit.
for 7 damage. He's grappled.
Okay.
Then do I try to move up to the party? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use all my movement to get up here. I will probably get an attack of opportunity, but I will try.
It'll miss.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so that was my bonus action and movement. Is this little one doing anything to anybody?
It's
Yeah, it's grappling Orsoid.
Okay,
choking out
perfect.
Orsoid.
All right, let me do that. Yeah, it'll work. I will cast my whip at that one, try to yank it back. So we're gonna see. 15 to hit.
That'll hit.
Awesome. For 6 slashing damage.
Yeah, you got it with your whip, but it's still holding on to the poor gnome.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to just try again next time. That's all I can do.
Puck.
All right, first things first. Let's see if I get my breath weapon back. I don't. So, I'm gonna move. Measurement tools. 10 feet, because I have range. All right. So I'm gonna move to the water right there.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna make a glaive attack on the vine. That's a 17.
Uh-oh, did we lose him again?
Hey, we might have lost him again.
Oh, hello, it's me again.
Oh,
It's
there you are.
Tony
Whew.
again.
Whew.
All right. Does
So
a
does a
17
what?
hit?
It does.
All right. I'm gonna hit for 12 damage
To which one?
to the vine.
That will cut it to shreds.
Okay.
To shreds,
Then
you
I'm
say?
Going to use my bonus action to use my second wind. So that's a D10. I'm gonna roll that because it got cocked. 5. So I'm gonna get back 6 HP.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna use the +2 on that as well. So bring that to 8.
Rick.
Lady Kit, surrounded and give me a hand, will ya? I'm gonna use Bardic Inspiration, so Kit will get a die 6. Then Rick's moving up. Basically, he's had a walking cane with a nice silverish handle. As he walks up, he basically pulls a sword out of the cane that's kind of in a blade like a fencing rapier, and will attempt to attack the big one.
Okay.
That's a 17 to hit.
That'll hit.
7 damage.
What kind?
Piercing.
Okay. And Kit.
She will bow her head a bit to Rick and attempt another glaive attack. Only I'm gonna roll it with real dice because fuck roll 20.
Get him. And you have Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
15 without the Bardic Inspiration, so it was a dirty 20 with the Bardic Inspiration.
That'll hit.
And then I don't have a D10 out. Hang on. I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready for
expecting
success.
it to hit.
Didn't think I'd make it this far.
Exactly that meme.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total. 10 total damage. Slashing.
Okay, this thing's looking really beat up. Bunch of slashes and stabbings and mostly slashes. Elaine.
We're going to keep doing the dang thing. That's a dirty 20 to hit.
That'll do it.
And that is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 slashing damage. As Elaine she takes a step forward and with her full like weight brings the axe up again, like just directly underneath it, trying to swing it across where like the head meets the neck, I guess.
Okay. And you get it, and it's like it's almost goes through, but not all the way yet.
Then Elaine will like twist and pivot, and her head will snap over to Orsoid on the other side of it, and she will just single nod. The black around her eyes starting to kind of like drain and like into the pockets underneath.
These vines will come up and try to get you, Kit. I don't know. They're gonna go for Elaine because Elaine's been fucking this plant up real bad. But a 13's probably not gonna hit.
It certainly isn't.
Son of a bitch. Orsoid.
So I was just going to take that single nod, and the plant's going to move into the perfect place. Thank you very much, DM. And he's going to go under the water for a second and burst up for that brief moment. And he is just going to pull like his whole body back while he's in the air, and just lean forward and exhale this acidic cloud, pure green. In this direction. It's a 15 feet long by 5 feet wide, so it should hit both of them. I need a dex save for both.
The plant's got a 14.
Okay.
And the vine's got a 16.
Okay, so they'll both make it, so they'll both take 5 poison damage.
So describe how your breath murders a plant.
There's just this moment where it's just like this tiny baby boy just expels this large cone funnel of green acrid cloud, and it covers the entire head of this plant. And as that smoke clears, Orsoid's head kind of finally bobbing up beyond the water as the rest of his body fell. There is just not but a withered, shriveled corpse of a being. All of the moisture wrung out of it. Both the tentacle and the plant itself completely withered to the bone. If it had bones, the mitochondria of the cell is completely gone.
Not the powerhouse.
The powerhouse is just destroyed, let me tell you that.
I tried to tell the boy not to eat the oysters.
So as you look around, you'll see as this large bulbous plant dies, the vines within start to slowly but surely shrivel and detach from the walls, landing, coming down from the ceiling in small bunches and bundles, kind of freaking you out for a second, but yeah, you murdered it. And Nim and Rick, you notice something within the plant itself.
Can I take a closer look?
Yeah, let's lean on in there, see what's going on.
Okay. Within you find a small shining crystal. I'm hoping it pops for you because I have no
It does.
idea.
Yep, it did.
It gives off a strange energy and vibrates slightly in your hand. You also notice in the back of its throat this. Although I don't know if that's not showing me a picture right now.
It's showing.
Mm-hmm.
A very small feather that seems to give off light. And also some cool gloves.
Ooh. Cool.
Seems this plant has been busy.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps the Archdruidess will be able to shed some light onto this crystal. Perhaps this feather belongs to our Eric fellow.
Eric, like Arakokra?
Eric as the bundle that was handed off.
Oh, not Arakokra then.
Or just kind of looking at that feather, doesn't it all resemble the bird that we saw on our way into the fortress?
It's very potential that Eric and that bird are the same.
Give me a nature check.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, this is gonna be a great time to use +2s probably. Yeah, I'm just gonna use a +2 for that and have a 14 at least.
This is not from that bird. It's not long enough, and the coloration is completely off.
Okay. Good enough. Your theory is probably correct. Although I don't know how something like a plant rooted here would get a hold of any of these things.
Like I said, it's also interesting that there's man-made traps in here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have some questions for the Druidess when we come back. But my guess is this was probably the test to begin with. We'll find out.
It's about this time Elaine's going to, she kind of stood at attention and like slowly the black around her eyes just fades away and she relaxes a little bit and then kind of blinks and looks down at the plant in front of her.
I see you're back with us, Miss Elaine.
Yes. It's just sad that it was a plant. And she's going to kind of move over to it and not touch it, but look at it and cock her head to the side before turning to Kit and offering a small grin. Thank you for lending me your back.
Always.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a bit tired of the humidity. Let's go back and report our findings.
Sounds like a plan.
Before we do, Puck's gonna head into this room and look around a bit.
Okay.
To explore this area fully and make sure there's nothing else left.
In this back cavern, you notice that there is a rotted out backpack.
Is it just normal backpack stuff in it?
Are you going to go check it out?
Yes.
Okay. As you do that, you find
You summon the real boss.
100 gold pieces and a neat little brooch.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay.
Find something interesting, Mr. Puck.
Just a backpack, some money, and an item. Just gonna check one last room before we go, and he's gonna walk into that final room down here.
You find an old rusty lantern. It has no oil or candle. You have no idea how long it's been here.
He's gonna pick it up and inspect it and look at it.
It probably wouldn't be usable anymore.
He's gonna take, because it still has the handle, right, for it? Yeah. He's gonna hook that to like one of his hand axes that is hanging on his hip. He's gonna hook it to that so it's hanging off his hip as well, and head back out to everybody else.
Okay.
How's the water,
Nice.
Orsoid?
It's really good.
About
You wanna
how
come
deep
in?
is it?
Looks like there's another path down this way over here.
Oh, do we have to leave already?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
That and we finished our initiation, so
No telling how long these tunnels go down into the earth.
Bubbles down into the water.
Unless this path is also another hallucination, like we saw at the beginning.
Puck's gonna come up and grab him by the scuff of the collar and bring him up out of the water.
No, come on. Let me put me down. Come on.
Well, let's return to Archdruid Thessalia. See what she has to say on it.
He's just gonna, as you're struggling, he's just gonna hold you far enough out in front of him that you can't do anything to him.
I'm gonna kick you in the knickers.
Okay.
Come on, boy. Let's go.
I'm gonna crack you by the gills and.
Elaine's just going to continue to walk and head out of the cave.
All right. You all finally get out. You make your way towards the House of Sylvanas, where Physidelia greets you. So what happened? Did you find out what happened to what was there?
We found a number of vines that seem to be alive in the plant that with a mouth larger than it needed. Inside, we managed to find a crystal, some sort of feather. I believe, Mr. Nim, you still have that?
No, he's gonna procure it in his hand.
Curious. May I?
No, and he hands it over.
Okay. I don't know if it's a sea elf thing, but it's a little weird. And she looks into it. I don't know what this is from. You might want to show it to Thessalia. And she kind of like twiddles it in her hand for us, or her fingers for a moment, and hands it back.
Well, that was the plan.
Upon re-entering, Thessalia greets you. The color has returned to her face. You see a young boy laying on the table, head under, or a pillow under his head. Did you deal with it? Did you find out what happened?
It's dead.
I'll explain the same thing to her.
And she'll look at the crystal and look at the feather, and she's like, oh, that's not good.
Care to elaborate?
There's the feather belongs to Sharketh, a koatle who has lived on our island for some time, and she lives nearby. She recently had a brood, and could you check on her?
She abnormally large bird with many colors.
No, a koatle is a snake-like creature with angelic wings, with feathers like this.
where do we need to go?
And she'll tell you the directions. It's following a trail about a 10-minute walk away, easily findable. I think I have to pull a kit. As you all arrive, you notice that there are bloodstains on the ground, feathers clumped with some of it as you get closer.
This doesn't look good.
Hey,
Doesn't.
hey, Miss Nim. Hey, breed is a good thing, though, right?
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Mr. Nim, brood's a good thing, though, right?
Well, the presence of a brood is a good thing, but I'm not seeing any of the brood here.
He kind of leans over and grabs at Puck's pants.
You'll notice you'll come to like a stone-topped cave, a log blocking most of the entrance, but you could easily just go over under it. But you can see within has some stalagmites, stalactites, large boulders. In one corner, you see luminescent mushrooms. And in the very back, you see somewhat similar outcropping of crystal to what you found. And as you follow this blood trail, you'll eventually come upon a nest. You see a skeleton dissipating into light, ascending through the cave's roof. And upon closer inspection of the nest, there's a single egg appearing smashed open. And as you go to lean forward, something pops out. What looks almost like a small snake with angelic wings intertwined with the skull of the quaddle. And
Well,
it hisses at you.
well, can I try to pick up the coddling?
Yeah, give me some sort of a check.
Animal
Would
handling,
animal
or
handling be it?
persuasion.
Sure.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I get anything from my bestiary on this before I make the roll. Don't remember if I do or not. I'm just going to check very quickly. No. Okay. Yeah, I'll add my +2 to that to make that a 19.
It's hesitant at first, but slowly it allows you to get close to it.
Come on, little one, it's okay.
And it stops hissing. But you notice it will not leave. It's the skull.
And how big was the skull again?
A little bit bigger than it.
Okay. He'll take the skull too, like just kind of as one piece. He's not gonna try to take it out of his little comfort zone right now.
Okay.
This looks like the last one left.
Rick's gonna go over and check those mushrooms out.
Okay. Upon doing so, you'll notice a large creature kind of waddles out. And by large, I don't mean actually large.
And by large, I mean not.
Probably about the size of a dog. Just kind of comes out and looks at you. Its bioluminescent body shedding a little bit of light. And it just kind of munches on something. You're not sure if you want to know what that is. It just kind of goes back into its mushroom pile and lays down.
Do I see bones over there?
Yeah, you do.
Mr. Nim, could I use your expertise for a moment?
He's already walking over there, but he still says no. But still, he walked over.
Ah, very good. Could you tell me anything about that particular creature there in the mushrooms?
Can I?
A nature check.
Okay. And since I'm assuming this is non-humanoid, my bestiary gives me advantage on this. '22.
Okay. It is a creature made of fungus. You would believe it's something akin to what the hounds that Vegapygmies would have. You don't see any Vegapygmies.
Interesting. It's strange. We're not seeing a whole lot of anything that's here to make a whole lot of sense.
Indeed, this is quite the mystery. Rick's gonna move a little bit closer to the bones, just kind of circling around so he can keep an eye on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least until he can get a better look at them.
Do I know if these creatures are friendly?
They can be.
They can be. Okay.
But not this one.
If-
Life's taken too much from him. And I guess I'll roll a perception check. Well, that's a mighty 6, though technically my passive's a 14.
You're seeing bones. You're not sure what kind of bones. And you don't see anything in them. They're just bones.
Hmm.
And is there some sort of crystal behind me?
Yep, way up here.
I guess since I'm there and see it, I'll go check it out as well.
Elaine and Kit, what are you doing?
Elaine would have walked in and would just be standing as everyone else kind of splits up to go look at all of the different items in the cave. Elaine would just watch quietly, her brow knit in concern, waiting to see what everyone comes up with. She would probably turn to Kit. I don't know what all we can do at this point. It almost seems better to just report back.
Yeah, Kit also would have probably sat next to Elaine, just kind of pulling up a seat, not necessarily wanting to interject herself into what anyone else is doing. And nod in agreement, and just kind of look to Elaine and go, but are you okay? Seems to be kind of distressing for you when you do the things.
Oh, I'm fine. It's new, but fine. It's just a funny feeling I get every once in a while.
Okay, just checking. And she'll just sit and wait.
There'll be kind of an awkward beat, and Elaine will kind of sigh. Just really sad that it was a plant. I really like plants.
Yeah. I mean, I'm indifferent, but I get it.
And Elaine will just kind of watch as everybody goes about what they're doing.
As will Kit.
And what about Orsoid and Puck?
So Puck was kind of leading Orsoid over here, but Nimjuk went all the way across the room.
You can always call him back.
Look at the baby, but no. Nim
Oh
ran
no,
off.
just to make it clear, like, yeah, Nim fully intends on taking the baby with us, just like within the skull.
Orsoid is gonna move beyond Puck and kneel down at the base of the tail and just kind of pat it. It's okay, Mama. You can rest.
He's gonna come up alongside him and kneel down and go, well, she did her job. Kept her kid alive.
I suppose it's something to be alive. It's sad to be without a mama, though.
We'll just have a different one. Won't be without. Just won't have her.
You think it's gonna need a big sibling or something? Teach it the ropes of,
Probably. You think you could do it?
Of course I can.
Bet you 100 gold you can't.
100?
Yeah. It's not that much.
What do you mean it's not that much? It's 100.
Yeah. Well, if it's that much, do it.
You're being mean on purpose. Didn't even give me a good knife, and now you're doing this.
So deal?
Yeah, of course it's a deal.
And he'll extend his hand out for a handshake.
Grab your pinky and shake it with surprising amounts of strength.
Now, go over to Nim.
At that point, he's walking back and is just kind of like tail into that conversation. Didn't really hear a whole lot, but yeah, That little one can't be on its own. We're taking him with us.
So we're sending him back then.
More or less.
Do I notice anything about the crystal?
It matches the one that you have.
I believe I found the location of where that crystal came from.
Buck will head over and look at it. Is there anything like magical about it?
Do you have anything to detect magic?
No.
Who's to say?
I mean, I could make an Arcana check.
You can certainly try.
All right. All right. That's a 6. I don't know why it rolled it twice.
Yeah, you've never heard of anything like this. Magical.
Well, at least it would seem to me that the carnivorous plant came in here, perhaps ate the mother, took a bite of the crystal, and then perhaps the gloves we found were related to those bones in the corner there.
Well, if it has anything to do with the order we got it, maybe the gloves, the mother, then the crystal.
It definitely provides more questions than answers. Why would a plant want to take a bite out of a crystal? And if those bones are indeed belong to people that wore gloves, who were they?
Elaine's gonna kind of raise her hand. Like, I imagine that this is just echoing off of the walls. And is going to it was just a feather that we found. The whole rest of it's here, and there was only a piece of that crystal, and there was a trap. Maybe someone came up here, killed the mother, took a feather and part of the crystal, and was doing something to the plants.
There's also a possibility as well. Very key eye there, Lady Elena. I suppose we should report our findings to the Archdruidess. It definitely seems like there's a deeper mystery here than just plants gone wild. As we're heading back. In fact, it reminds me of the case of the Phantom Tarrasque. See, it all started back...
Okay.
As he begins to start to drone, Puck is just walking off.
Yep, scooping up the baby.
So Nim,
Which
you
one?
notice, not you.
Damn it.
You'll notice that the quatling seems to hiss when in close proximity to Puck.
Noted.
But as you are all making your way back, it is beginning to turn dark, and you are led upstairs to a very large balcony where there has been plenty of food provided. Thessalia will greet you as Fidelity brings you up. Well,
we
She'll-
investigated the den. Unfortunately, it seems the mother was killed. We also found a crystal formation that seemed to be where that crystal the beast ate came from, as well as bones belonging to someone that couldn't identify who.
Well, I'll have some Enclave look into it in the morning. Nim, was it?
I'm trying to like figure out how to like nod my head yes and say no.
May I see the child?
No.
It'll be the child.
As the Quatling's a little hesitant as well, but it seems to be pretty mild with Cesalia. She looks it over. And the Quatling actually flies back to you, Nim. The skull's kind of weird and like clattering on your shoulder. It's like the Quatling tries to balance the skull there so it doesn't keep sliding. Well, it seems in good health and it likes you, so that's beneficial. If you wish to take care of it, that is up to you, but without knowing its future, it will need to be cared for in a special manner. I will get information to you as I'm able.
That would be wonderful. Yeah.
But
I think I'm taking the
please
shine to him too.
take your seats and enjoy the merriment. And as you do, who's it going to be? Okay. As you're all there, you're going to notice something else. That strange bird coming in, swooping down, and grabbing who is 6? I believe who is 6th in the overlay? Who's number 6?
It's me.
Orsoid.
Oh, this is
No.
perfect. The bird comes down and swoops whatever you have in your hand for food, brings it back up here and eats it. And then you will all hear what you're pretty sure is a human-like giggling coming from it.
That bird's going to be the final boss. Calling it now.
I make my way over. It's one thing to put me on the goddamn mission out here. It's another thing to steal my goddamn food.
And it'll just kind of look at you with a cocked head, Orsoid. And that's where we're going to end the session. Thanks to everyone for being here. Even when I decided to have technical issues, my internet decided to just take a hot dump near the end. But thanks for sticking it out, even though I can't see if you're all still here or not.
We are. We had so
They're
much
still
fun.
here. Believe me.
I have a few shout outs. Thank you to DMDave for the adventure Caught Me Vines. You can find that in Roll20. Thank you, Music D20, for some of the cool music. One of them was some of the music for the cave and for the fight. You can find them on Patreon. And the creature, the Quatling, created by Just Jack Daw. You can find him on YouTube and Twitter. He has a ton of like mixture of like Pokemon and D&D monsters. He puts them all onto D&D Beyond. Got cool stats and cool history. So go check them out. But otherwise, I've been Tony, your Dungeon Master. Players, do your outro thing.
Alrighty. Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot. Tonight I played Nim Perlantisil, the sea elf zoologist. This was so much fun. You can find me on all of the social medias at Sir Heckalot. I would normally do like all of like the schedule and like commands and stuff, but I think our bot died, so bear with us. But yeah, you can, in terms of the TTRPG space, find me here in Emerald Expeditions every once in a while, as well as every other Tuesday for Oathsworn, every other Thursday for Queen's Gambit, our Tyranny of Dragons campaign, and then over on Neon Lights Roleplay for Violet Sea every other Sunday. And I have a very new thing to announce for the month of February. On Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing a little Locust mini campaign over on Sir Hooper's channel. So it's going to be wild. Is all I gotta say. Personal horror. But I think that's all I got. Let's move on over to Mr. Rogers.
Hi, I'm Mr. Rogers. You can find me on Twitch under Mr. Rogers Bloodstained Sweater, which this Saturday, I am going to be doing a stream of Sekiro. And I'm going to be, hopefully, at least once a week, playing through From Software games all the way up to the release of Elden Ring. So outside of that, you can find me here next month for Emerald Expedition. And if you want to, join our Discord. It's a great community. You'll find me on there quite often. Outside of that, that's all I've got. So I'm going to throw it over to Copper.
Hey everyone, Copper Leo. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at CopperLeo21. I played Rick Charlemagne, Gentleman Adventurer tonight. I believe I'll be back next month. Otherwise, don't have anything scheduled, but I'll keep you posted with anything. And I'm going to toss it up there to Sarah.
Hi, I'm Osiris Franco. I play Elaine Thistletop, the Halfling Barbarian. If you like my face and the words I say sometimes, you can find me Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, all the places at Osiris Franco. I do a variety of TTRPG content here on TBK Roleplay and other places. Like tomorrow, you can find me over at Nat20 in Power Beyond. Wednesday, you can find me over on Neon Lights Roleplay in After the End. Friday, catch me on Critical Misses in a Star Trek game, The Lost Frontier. And then all day Saturday, it's Saturdays with Strahd. Catch me in the morning here in Dark Echoes, where I play Irina Kolyana. And in the evening, in the last part of the overture for Last Time Around, a gritty retelling of Curse of Strahd, where I play Akiva Clearspire. You can find me Sundays in Morningstar and Company, and the fun never stops. So just keep an eye on my Twitter, and you'll see me around looking like someone else. Pushing it over to Chrissy.
Hello, I'm Chrissy Kritz. I played Kit Dustu, our turtle fighter. Yeah, so similar to Heck and everybody else, you can find me in any number of things here at TPK. Next, we have Oath Sworn. I enunciate it purposefully.
Like Defera.
So that is tomorrow evening. I'm back here with Turk and Heck and Tony, and we will be playing through all the things and doing all of the very legendary action-y sort of stuff. We're going to be masters one day. And then Thursday, I'm back again with our Tyranny of Dragons Queen's Gambit game, which is also with Heck and DM'd by Magic, that magic juice. So
We're fighting 2 dragons and I'm scared.
yeah, we're fighting 2 dragons and I'm scared. So ditto. Other than that, yeah, you can find me all over the internet at Chrissy Kritz. Mostly just me talking about therapy things and doing the things. Now you, Turk.
Oh, I guess you insist. Hey, everybody. I am Turk, or Turk Accented, on Twitch and Twitter. I've had the distinct pleasure and honor of playing Orsoid, your forest gnome dragon blood sorcerer today. And just general petulant child. If you want to see more of me, of course, you can catch in tomorrow with Oath Sworn, which if you've not already been told 2 times or 3 times even over, is our Odyssey of the Dragonwoods campaign here on TPK Roleplay. It's a ton of fun, at least I hope it is. Our players have just completed their first major labor and are heading back to the wonderful city they originated from, Astoria, to hopefully save a princess from a cruel fate which she has consigned herself to, and break some more terrible prophecies. But we will just have to tune in to see how far they go, because there's always some wonderful RP between our players to pad the difference between our epic big combat moments. I just love it so much. Beyond that, of course, there's so much more to say for just the rest of this month. Saturday, as Sarah mentioned, we will be back in Barovia with with Dark Echoes early in the morning. We've gone from tenor to alto in regards to the level of screaming and nothing else. I don't know what you'd be referencing to. That following Monday, the true terror begins for me and me only, as I have once again been shanghaied into DMing a session of Winterhold's Finest. It's gonna hurt my brain, and
Godspeed and good luck.
We're gonna see if they can figure out this murder mystery in time.
We won't.
It won't, but we'll see what happens in between. February is going to be so much fun. Of course, I'll be right back here for Emerald Enclave. I will be here until they kick me out. But also coming up over on Nat 20, we will have a very cool thing called The Department, which will be full of spooks, terrors, and absolutely horrific things meant to boggle and torture the mind. I will say no more. It's going to feature some awesome people, and hopefully you'll be hearing more about that soon. And over on Neon Lights, we'll have some more Core Heart, some more Coalition of Steel, which is so much better than Alliance of Heaven, and maybe some giant robots doing battle with each other. Only way to know is to stay tuned to myself. And of course, I'll reiterate this again, follow all these wonderful people you see on the screen. They do absolutely amazing work and are worth it 100%. But thank you so much, Tony, and thank you so much to all the players. I'm gonna throw it back to you. Please send.
Okay, hello again. Yes, Tony here. I am what is DMD on Twitter. I don't plug myself ever because I don't do anything but follow artists. If you want to follow me, sure, do it, or don't, but do it. Yeah, this is a monthly campaign, so I'll see you the 21st of February for the next one. Let's see if my players can figure it all out next time. Sarah, take us away.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.